Howdy, everybody. Welcome to Liberty Libations number 17. We have the
17
usual
already.
crew. I know, 17 already. We have the usual crew here today. We got Alden, we got Nick. I believe Steve is on his way, late like a libertarian. Should be a good time. We're going to talk. Got a few things pulled up. We're definitely going to hit the banking system and what's going on there. That's going to be the primary topic, I believe, unless we just go off on some pretty severe tangents. Actually, you know what I didn't pull up is what we always have to promote at the beginning of these things, which is, hang on, let's get there. The Great Create.
The Great Create.
It is happening May 12th through the 14th, and what it is a DIY Freedom Festival. It is technically the Libertarian Convention, but business will be done on the 14th, the first 2 days being a festival. There's going to be booths and demonstrations of different skill sets, different activities, basically a whole bunch of things to help you be more self-sufficient. You can get tickets for $42 for an adult for the weekend. Kids 16 and under are free, which is fantastic. We have people like Mr. Reed Coverdale, Shane Hazel, Edgar Mills, and John Mons speaking at the Great Create. We also have a film festival along with live podcasts, some comedy from Amanda Miller, Adam Nutter, and Mac Carter. We got some music by the Bibb City Ramblers. And like I was saying, film festival. We got a couple more films coming as well. So go get your... we got the Tuttle Twins. That's new up here. That was not there before, was it?
I don't think so.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I don't remember
there
that.
were a couple things on that line, so there might be some things changing. I know I'm hearing rumors of some even bigger guests that may be coming. Nothing confirmed, but
yeah, screw all these people. These people don't matter.
Hey, I'm
get
hearing
bigger
rumors.
Guests.
Hey, for a bootstrap festival. We're turning people out and we're doing something here. If you're in Georgia, you're not going to want to miss it this weekend.
Heck yeah.
And if these rumors I hear turn out to be true, like I said, they're big. They're going to be awesome. And it's only going to add to this.
Well, thank you for bringing up rumors that we can't talk about. Getting people on the edge of their seat.
Hey, if they buy a ticket, if they buy a ticket, they might find out earlier.
Fair enough. Well, y'all, that's the Great Create. Make sure you go get your tickets now. I don't know. Can it sell out, Nick? Do we know if it can sell out? Is it limited space?
Probably could sell out, but I don't think.
Definitely some of the events could sell out. So
I was just going to say, if it's like an outdoor thing, it's probably a lot of room, but it depends on specific areas.
It's definitely indoor, outdoor. So like film festival, obviously indoor,
that
comedy, indoor, like all the like stage events will probably be indoors.
That's what I was thinking, was like the movie showings or whatever might be the things that could sell out.
But don't just get your tickets, get your membership to LP Georgia.
Get your membership to LP Georgia.
And come participate in business on Sunday as well.
Yes.
Help us continue these kind of things and take up some leadership positions. We've got some good ideas going into the future. We've laid a great groundwork this past year, and it's going to keep going.
I really feel like what we need is more money to pay people on the media team, specifically Jake.
All right.
Yeah, Scotch isn't cheap,
Scotch is not cheap.
If anyone would like to pay Jake, you can donate at lpgeorgia.com/donate and earmark it in the comment section by writing Jake Green.
Perfect. I really like this plan. I think this is totally going to work. And here's our fourth late streamer, Mr. Steven. Steven, you're already on, man. Quit banging things in the background. He has no idea what's happening. He can't hear us.
Yeah, I wondered.
But we can hear him. This is great. Perfect. Everybody look at Steven. Can I make him the only one on screen? How do I freaking do that? He left.
That idea though is the funniest thing I've heard all day.
I don't know how to do that with this daggum thing.
It's too funny though.
StreamYard is getting complicated, y'all. Like there are some
really
interesting additions that they've made to
Complicated
this
in a
thing.
good way.
I think it'll be good once I figure it out.
In the long term, yeah.
Yeah, I just don't have time to figure it out at the moment. But
Mhm.
well, let's go to our first story of the day. We're going to keep it light for the first story. Here we go. Rapper Rick Ross's buffalo escape and wander through Fayette County neighborhood. Basically, I mean,
you see that in your yard. That's
I mean, that's
an intimidating thing.
Yeah. So, Nick, obviously this happens rarely, and this happens in a world that isn't libertarian. How would we keep this from happening in a world that is libertarian?
If the buffalo end up on your property, you get to keep them and make burgers out of them.
I like that.
I like this rule. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the finders keepers rule.
Buffalo burgers are fantastic.
Yep, you get them. They show up on your property. They are your dinner now.
Mm-hmm.
That'll teach people to build their fences up better.
Some oxtail soup.
Yeah. Buffalo, also known as bison, can grow up to 12 feet in length and can weigh as much as 2,000 pounds. I mean, that one right there looks enormous.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to
go
toe to toe with that guy.
You can go like on Twitter and find here. I guess we'll let Steven in now. Steven, welcome to the show.
Steven, he's actually here. Yeah,
that's right.
You've seen the videos of people getting tossed by.
Yes, that's what I was getting. That's what I was getting at. Like those are not to be messed with. If you go on Twitter, you can find the Yellowstone videos. People going up to bison like a bunch of idiots,
trying to do selfies.
Look at the cute buffalo. Yeah. And you get your ass tossed. Yeah,
it's cute till it's not. Yeah.
All right. Well, the fun times didn't last very long. We're gonna go to this one.
Wait. I had one thing to add to that. Who was talking about this with the Rick Ross thing, where the local sheriff doesn't like him because every time he goes to jail, he bails out everyone like in the drug.
Yeah. So that was so. My mother did. She did clerical work for the jail division for like 25 years, Fayette County.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And this is before she retired. And so she retired 6 years ago now. So. But this was right after he bought Evander Holyfield's house, which is that's the house he's living in, is Evander Holyfield's old house.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and there was a couple of times that he went in there and he got arrested for misdemeanor pot charges, semantics, and while he's in there, he bails out the whole holding pod, which at one time was like 200 people.
Wow!
And it was a mountain of paperwork. It pissed off the sheriff's office.
This guy is my new hero, dude. I love.
Yeah, well, so he borrows his name from the infamous cocaine dealer Freeway Ricky Ross.
Mm-hmm.
But this guy is a retired prison guard from California, so he knows what kind of a headache that is when the entire holding cell gets bonded at the same time.
That's awesome.
I mean, that's incredible. Would that be a deterrent for cops from arresting
to hold people unnecessarily,
or no, just him,
or
just him?
Yeah. It's my understanding there was a bit of a detente. There was a conversation between him and the sheriff after that. That was like, hey, stay out of my town. Don't go bar hopping in my town, raising hell. Stay on your compound, and I'll leave you alone until you really need me. And keep your stuff over there.
That's a smart move on his part, even if it's just a deterrent. Yeah.
Gnome's giving us a good story to cover there too. If you don't have a,
I do not have this one pulled up. Why don't you talk about it for a second while I find it?
We want to jump to that. So,
Yeah,
Afro Man, who appeared in person at last year's LP Alabama convention as a speaker and performer, I believe, got his house raided by the Adams County Sheriff's Office for stupid drug related charges or something. And what he did was he had his security cameras, and so he wrote a song, and his security cameras were running while they were acting like jackboot thugs, raiding his house, breaking his stuff. And so he made a music video out of the security camera footage, and it's hilarious.
Also awesome.
Is it these two, Lemon Pound Cake and Will You Help Me Repair My Door?
Will You Help Me Repair My Door is the one I definitely is.
Well, we got to watch it. I mean, we got to watch it.
I'm game. That's awesome.
It's 6 minutes long. We're not watching this whole thing.
You'll get it's an Afro Man song. You'll get it.
This is hilarious.
Brilliant. Wow.
Come on, get to the lyrics, Afro Man.
Will you help me repair my gate?
Goodness gracious. Yeah, they broke it. Oh my God.
My door? Did you find what you was looking for? Will you help me repair my gate and door?
That's great.
Would you like a slice
This
of
is so
lemon
dang good.
You can take
Oh, Meal Team 6 right there.
You know, I'm not really a huge fan of having cameras in your house, but this would be a reason to do that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm looking to get a new car, and I think I'm going to get a dash cam just as like a side story here.
For sure. Yeah, no, that's a good one. We just got one in our van.
Yeah.
All right. That's it.
That's brilliant, though.
I mean, that's.
But yeah,
freaking
so
genius.
he did that, and because he took that footage, which is his, and they destroyed his cameras and stuff.
Oh, wow, really?
Thank goodness for the cloud.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he took it. So he took the footage and he made those music videos, and then now he's getting sued by the sheriff's department for publishing these videos.
How on earth could they? What are they suing him for?
What law is
How
he
dare
breaking?
you? It's more of this bullshit of how dare you film us doing our job, blah
How
blah
dare
blah.
you film the interior of your own home?
Yeah,
Yeah.
while we're kicking down your door.
The complaint
Wow.
says Foreman also created dozens of videos and images of plaintiffs' personas and posted them on various social media platforms. That's the complaint?
That's it?
They were in his house.
Wow.
Yeah. And courts have held time and time again that you're allowed to film the cops in the course, actually any government employee in the course of their duties.
Yep.
Yeah.
In public.
They love to tell you otherwise. But,
Yeah, they really do.
Hey,
That
well,
is so interesting.
So yeah, that's the Afro Man story.
I have
What a
2
baller.
new heroes this week. Yeah.
Oh man. All right. Well,
I just have to wonder if him appearing at the LP Alabama commercial convention last year just helped set this whole thing up.
you think
like
it did?
when
You think it got
well,
any attention? I mean, I was down there.
I'm saying with him, maybe he got the idea like, hey, these guys that I went down and hung out with, maybe they would film the cops and make a music video and post it online. I don't know. Seems like
He's got the libertarian target on his back.
yeah.
I see what you mean. He got the idea from us to put it to. Okay. I don't know if that's true, but that'd be interesting if it was. If he's like, yeah, screw these people. But I'm sure his mindset was already screw these people. All right. Next one. Ukraine
War
seeks
crimes.
U.S. cluster bombs to adapt for drone use.
This week in war crimes.
Right. I mean, that could be a recurring segment for sure.
So yeah, it's my understanding. I might be wrong. I have been before, but even having these things is illegal.
Yes.
Admit it. So not only do we have sitting Republican chairmen of committees in the U.S. House and Senate not only admitting that we have caches of these things, but we're still manufacturing them, which we promised the world we stopped after Lebanon.
Yeah, I mean, chemical weapons are illegal and biological weapons are illegal, and I guarantee we got stockpiles of those too.
Banned by more than 120 countries, normally release large numbers of smaller bomblets that can kill indiscriminately over a wide area.
And then I think it was who was it maybe it was Zach that was talking about this, where like one of the other risks of this is that if you get even one dud of one of the many multiples of bombs that go off, and then it just lands in the dirt somewhere, and then someone could like find it, that kind of a thing too, as far as another aspect to civilian, threats or whatever.
It's like landmines also, you just dump a bunch of explosives out there out on the land and no one knows where they are and you come across it and boom, right?
Yeah, no kidding. Isn't the whole plot of Tropic Thunder based on that? One of the most underrated movies of all time. I love that. Dude, I watched that like 3 times in the last 3 months because I've been on so many planes. I just like, oh, Tropic Thunder going
It's
on.
a legend. Yeah.
Well, and it made the rounds recently because I think they tried to make who was it? Ben Stiller and
Ben Stiller, yeah,
Robert,
tried to make him
Robert Downey
apologize.
Jr. tried to make them apologize for it.
And Ben Stiller
And-
stuck up for it, which was great.
Right? They were like, no, it's
Yep.
comedy.
Yeah, it
I
was
agree.
fantastic. Like, it was so good that they did that.
And by the way, Elizabeth, you know what she posted? Yeah, if you're not doing anything wrong, you don't need to worry about privacy. Isn't that what they say? That's why my comeback to that is usually, okay, well then send me some nudes of your wife. And they're like, no,
I've never heard
well,
that
why?
before.
You know, why do you need that to be private? What are you hiding?
Yeah, what are you hiding?
Yeah.
That is
I've
an
never
interesting
heard
one.
that. Go ahead.
No, that's the thing I get all the time. Like, I was told that I had what was it? Like, how I was told I was narcissistic by wanting to put privacy based my life and like get Brave and get Bitcoin and like get all these things that
Brave
that
the
are more-
browser, like
Yeah. and basically get off of all social media and like use VPNs and because
You don't
people
want-
people are like no one cares about you like that. You're not doing anything wrong, so why do you care? Like, you're not important, so it doesn't matter. That's what
We could talk about this. We could have a show just for this, and we could talk about all of the different ways that this does matter so much. And even just pick one thing, even just the aspect of like metadata, and then people are harvesting that and then basically selling you back to you. You know, it's just it's insane. Just one aspect, you know, and there's 1,000 others, but
Yeah.
it's insane.
big time. And this proves it, you know, like the whole the Afro Man thing, like not doing anything wrong, and films them like what, and
Well,
they
even
try to
stuff's
sue
going on
him.
with-
I don't even think any
Trump right
charges
now.
stuck in that.
Like
They
the whole
shouldn't.
charges with Trump is the entire thing is a violation of attorney-client privilege. It's outside of the statute of limitations. It was
I haven't
elevated
looked
from
into
a
this
misdemeanor to a felony.
Yeah.
That's why the U.S. House is like, hey, Manhattan DA, what the hell are you doing? And look, I'm not a Trump fan, but like, you know, the Stormy Daniels thing is like, okay, so we had President Bill Clinton paid Paula Jones a whole bunch more than that, and that came out, and nothing happened. You got David Letterman, you know, he had the improprieties with, you know, his workers and his interns, and then they leaked it to the tabloids. They got arrested for extortion. You know, so that's not what's going on here because Stormy Daniels she definitely didn't leak this to the tabloids herself.
Right.
Of course, she didn't deny it when people started asking her about it. But, you know, all this stuff is like, this is attorney-client privilege here. Are we just doing away with that? Because if a former U.S. president doesn't have attorney-client privilege, no one does.
Right. Yeah, absolutely true. And like, yeah, I mean, same thing happened with Twitter. You know, like sitting U.S. president got kicked off Twitter because they said he was inciting violence. But
that's literally
what
I was going to bring up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was
And
the same-
Signature
just as a
Bank, which,
concept.
you know, we now know Barney Frank was on the board of, closed his accounts while he was president.
Yeah.
I was going to use the same thing. That it's like Trump is the person that, like, you know, understandably infuriates a lot of people. I get it. I don't like him either, right? But they use that to get people to go against things that on a principle level shouldn't be applied.
Right.
Because they don't like the person that is the current target.
Yep.
But then will undermine your own rights later based on that. Anyway.
Yes.
Well, didn't the Khmer Rouge do that? You know, hey, all the college professors that have glasses, if you wear glasses, you're one of them. You know,
What
stuff like that.
I don't know about this.
Yeah.
Orange man bad.
Exactly.
Orange man
bad.
Cheeto equal bad. Yeah.
Breaking news.
Share it.
This comes from Diego Rivera over at the Defend the Guard. So as some of you might know, Defend the Guard, which is legislation to assert that state national guards can't be deployed overseas without a declaration of war. So this is the kind of thing that's been working its way through several states here and there. Huge win happened a week or so ago in the Arizona Senate, where a whole bunch of LP members and other people who wanted to see this sat down and called the swing votes on that and hammered them with, I think they said like 1,200, 1,300 calls, and got enough of the swing vote to pass the Senate. The House committee went to was going to try to run the clock out today. Like if they hadn't scheduled it to be heard, it was going to die in committee. And now Diego Rivera, one of the guys leading this charge across the country, says the AZ House leadership tried running the clock out on us. With this overwhelming support, the speakers now assured us that the bill is alive and well and showed how there are many paths to victory. Well done. This shows you the power of the grassroots. P.S. They're really scared. So what I'm going to say is everyone needs to go follow Diego and the other guys. BringOurTroopsHome.us, I think, is the organization.
Let me go find it.
And follow Diego. And they're going to be putting out calls to action so that as it comes up in the House there, they can get nailed with phone calls. If you're in Arizona, especially, you need to be on this.
Mm-hmm.
And when the time comes, we nail them with phone calls, and hopefully we push it through the House. And it's going to die with the governor there, almost certainly. But this is already ahead of any other state where this has been. So we're getting somewhere with it.
I love it.
And this is something at the state level that state governments can do to push back against the warfare state. So
that's fantastic.
And believe me, that you hear these Bring Our Troops Home guys talk on it, and they get scared. Like, the DC guys come in and basically, start threatening the state legislatures. We're going to pull this from you. We're going to pull that from you. We're pulling these bases out. We're cutting funding for this. We're cutting funding for that. You're not getting this. You're not getting that.
No more allowance.
So, for
and every state
speaking,
below like 40 degrees latitude is like, please, we're self-sufficient if we need to be.
Yeah. So, these guys in the leadership in the state houses get pressure for it hardcore. But if we pressure, the grassroots pressure's harder. Who are they going to listen to? If they're getting 1,200 phone calls in a day over this issue,
mm-hmm.
you kind of have to sit back and listen and say, am I afraid of this one military asshole from DC or the people who actually vote for me?
Yep. I mean, it's fantastic because I know in Montana where I'm moving to, the act failed. It did get a lot more votes than it
got out of
previously.
committee there, which was another big accomplishment.
So that was a win. But good to see Diego Rivera, who I was not following, just clicked follow. So I did it. So y'all can too. So get on Twitter and go follow Diego Adrian Rivera. It's Diego for Liberty. He does things for liberty, y'all.
I do.
Yeah. So when he's in your state pushing this issue, hop on board and help out there. Help out with other states. Let's get something pushed through.
Isn't it amazing how common sense stuff like this is so controversial? About hey, the National Guard shouldn't be deployed unless we're actually at war. And how do you say that should happen?
You sound like a fascist, Steven.
Right. I mean, I know my racism is showing in full force right now, but it's just hey, we should send the National Guard to Colombia right now. Give them some freedom and democracy.
Well,
what?
I mean, it's crazy that
the
federal
name
government.
National Guard, like it's
Guard.
not it's not what it's made for. Like there's a different.
Then you've got the Republicans, Marjorie Taylor Greene and such, talking about going to war with cartels on the Mexico border.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
yeah,
yep.
Well, and by that logic, so I understand what they're saying is, they're parading this death toll from fentanyl, 100-something thousand a year, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, well, at that rate, we should be bombing local pharmacies for prescribing OxyContin because taking your medication as prescribed is more than twice as deadly as the fentanyl crisis right now.
Yeah, we had talked about that the last time we were on, I think.
Yes.
Did you bring that up? Yeah.
I did. Hey, let's cluster bomb the Sackler family factory by that logic. If that's really the merit for going to war.
Right.
But, they just paid the fine. So, maybe the cartels just need to give us, a few tens of billions of dollars to fight climate change and we'll back off a little bit.
There's an
Or-
idea.
Well, speaking of
Cartels.
speaking of war, our favorite little warmonger, Mr.
Eye Patch McCain,
actually tweeted something decent. Props where props are due. He quoted Milton Friedman. Education spending will be most effective if it relies on parental choice and private initiative, the building blocks of success throughout our society. So while we hate most of what Dan Crenshaw has to say, he's not wrong on this one.
He must be up for re-election soon.
You think?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I found that to be a pretty interesting tweet, especially like putting Milton Friedman's face on there. Like no one knows who that guy is. No one. But
I knew his name. I didn't know his face.
yeah,
If that
there's
makes sense.
there's his
Yeah.
face.
Yeah. Insert generic angry white guy.
All right. So exactly. Me and Alden. So after we got off the air 2 weeks ago, me and Alden had a discussion about once every quarter, Liberty Libations, the main crew, do it in one room together live on one topic that we research until that point. So we'll come up with like some conspiracy theory or some like crazy nut job, like tinfoil hat thing, and everybody will do their research. We will convene in one location, preferably in costume relating to that conspiracy theory.
Oh,
And
okay.
we'll have a podcast about it. What say ye, Stephen and Nick?
A little bit harder for me, but
Well,
Where do you-
Alden's in Washington, so
Well, for right now, yeah.
for right now, yeah.
I'm in. Hey, look.
Yeah.
So long as the location where we meet is in Georgia, and Alden, if you need help with plane tickets, we can, we can all throw in the pot.
I'm gonna be living either in Georgia or Tennessee here soon.
Okay,
So
but
I'll
if,
just be
if
driving
we can meet in Georgia, in
It'll
the
be
greater
Georgia.
Atlanta metro area, I'm down.
Yeah, no, it'll be Georgia. I'll set up a studio in my basement, and we'll knock that thing out. It'll be a very long episode. There will be drinking heavily involved.
Yeah.
Maybe some
yeah.
other substances. But I think that would be a grand old time.
I would be super excited to just like hang out with you guys and meet the people I haven't met officially, and then also 2, taste Steven's beer. I gotta get down on this homebrew. Yeah, I gotta know what this is like. And 3, deep dive onto one topic is like more like usually like my speed of thing is to like really take something to just like the bottom of the well.
Yeah.
Of weirdness or whatever. So I'd of course be all about it, but
Yeah, we did.
Just a heads up, everything we brew is at least 7%. So
yes, that's
where beer begins. Anything less is just kombucha.
Well,
6%
hey man, there is kombucha beer, so don't knock on kombucha.
Right. And so I started throwing out that mantra as like a sales pitch,
Yeah.
and then Sierra Nevada comes out with a 9% Imperial kombucha like 2 weeks after I started saying it.
Wow, that's amazing.
You know what?
Yeah.
You know how that happened? Someone accidentally made a kombucha batch that went bad because they got infected, and they were like, "What do we do with it? Sell it, market it." That's how, because kombucha is really finicky.
Or a lot of times with commercial breweries is they reuse the yeast too many times. They try to get too many cycles out of the same yeast. Yeah.
Let's see. Grumpy Gnome says we should be arming the people in France. They've got the Revolution 2.0 going on.
What's going on?
The yellow vest. I'm not even going to attempt the French words for it, but the yellow vest. Let's not forget that revolution was going on. It spread to Canada. It was in Australia. I mean, this stuff was hot in 2018, 2019, and then all of a sudden.
But to be fair, the French revolt over almost nothing all the time. Like they're always protesting something. Always.
Well, and that's weird because I grew up like making fun of them, like, hey, what's the French war stance? Because the Maginot Line stuff, yeah. So, but let's not forget where the basket of our ideology came from. And there's a reason why where I live is called Fayette County, Fayetteville. You got a Lafayette, Georgia. Marquis de Lafayette was very instrumental in the message of liberty in the Southeast. When it was just colonies. These guys, Frederick Bastiat, I mean, for God's sakes, like these guys like did us a solid when we were being formed, when we were breaking away. And that spirit is still alive in them. And that's why they're looking at us like yo, you're my nephew. Like, you got my back, right?
That is interesting.
All right, so start running guns to France.
So I recently I've been doing research on like NFA gun trusts and all that kind of stuff. Recently found out that it's relatively easy to become a firearms dealer and relatively legal to become an international arms dealer. And like incredibly easy. So I think we could get this thing like going. Let's get
Well, hey, if a California state senator like Leland Yee can run entire ships of automatic rifles to Al Qaeda for years and years before he gets caught, I think we can get away with a little something under the radar.
Did y'all ever see the movie War Dogs?
I was gonna bring that up. Yeah,
dude, that movie is like, I don't know what it is, but like that style of movie. What was that one with Tom Cruise? American
with the cocaine smuggler.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the Barry Seals.
Yeah, like whoever's making those movies, they're so entertaining, fast paced, and like just so much fun.
Was there one? Okay, I'm blank. It's been so many years. But was there one with like Denzel Washington about Vietnam and the heroin too?
Oh, I don't know.
Older one or
I don't know. That's an interesting one. Elizabeth has a good suggestion for our conspiracy theory show. Conspiracy theory. Spin the bottle on the conspiracy theory iceberg. I like that.
Honestly, I could probably spin the bottle and hit just about anyone. I could talk about it.
Oh, well, we'll do it live.
Do we still get to kiss?
We'll do it live next episode.
Yeah.
Next episode, I'll have like a spin the thing on some website, and
maybe we'll
each come up with
bottle, but
yeah, just spin the wheel.
Spin the thing.
We'll decide the topic next week, and that'll be fantastic. Zen Libertarian.
I would love that as like a segment.
They're always protesting for more socialism.
Well, so one video that I saw was the farmers. This was like 2018. There was something about the farmers. And from what I understand, it was the same regulations that started to creep into like Norway and Finland and Iceland, places like that. It was basically like the green regulations. You have to start regulating the methane coming off of your cows and all this kind of stuff. And what I saw was they took over the town square and they sprayed. I mean, they took one of the grass seed spreaders, and they were shooting cow manure up in the mayor's house.
I watched that. They also did it at the agricultural commissioner house or whatever.
So that didn't seem like they wanted more socialism. That seemed like they wanted to farm and be left alone.
Yeah.
Overall, I mean, yes, when you really get down to it, the U.S. Army is the biggest socialist program on the planet.
Farmers.
How's that? Oh, just like government funded or whatever.
We're not. Like if you read the Constitution, maybe I'm reading something different, but we're not really supposed to have a sitting army. The well-regulated militia is just us, the citizenry.
Right.
So the fact that you have these people with these bases, with these self-contained shopping centers and medical units and libraries and education centers, all this stuff that's funded by taxpayers, that's the largest socialist program on the planet, man.
Mm-hmm. Actually, the U.S. military is, I think, the largest. Like, it would be considered like a corporation or an industry by any other category except for
it's the Dutch East India Trading Company reincarnated.
That's interesting. Yeah,
that is interesting.
And with more guns.
I'm looking for that video because it was unbelievable how much manure they were spraying.
Right? Yeah, it was on like Now This or something when I saw it because I was watching it live. I should have been working back then, but I was like, hold on, the French have just taken over the mayor's house.
I don't know how do you spell manure?
M-A-N-U-R-E.
You what?
M-A-N-U-R-E.
What's the yeah, there. Okay. No, I can't find it. The videos have been deleted.
Oh, the plot thickens. Yeah.
Like I found the articles, but all the videos I can't find them because they were all over the place.
There's all kinds of things that I wish that when I was like 15, 20, 25, like before YouTube was bought by Google and hid everything. Yeah. I wish that I had saved things that I had found at those times because I can't find anything anymore.
Yeah. Now, the videos you see of the yellow vest guys, squaring off, trying to get in fist fights with the cops on the bridges in the middle of the cities. Yeah, like they're protesting for, like better wages and hours for the labor union.
Yeah.
They're protesting for more socialism. But they're doing it. It's the fact that it's the spirit of their bucket. The government told them no with their money, and they hate that. And they're actually doing something about it. And that mentality is real easy to judo throw into, like, hey, you could do all this yourself. You don't need the union, especially if it's run by the government.
So I just dropped a tweet that's not relevant to this conversation into the chat. But this happened today.
Hey, Fudbusters, you look like an idiot in front of Congress and the world today. Nice work. Ahem. Fuck cops. They literally have a giant tweet to present
once again
to
proving
Congress
that this timeline is the best timeline.
Is that photoshopped, or are they physically actually holding a printout of
No,
a tweet?
that
they're
happened
actually
today.
holding
That's a
a
real thing?
printout of a tweet.
Show the world you don't understand technology without actually saying it.
Yeah.
That is hilarious.
Wow.
That's amazing. Gain me.
Well, and that's the crazy part to me is, a lot of the Republicans want these folks to regulate internet discourse. Hey, we gotta really, stop them from censoring people online. And then they bring out poster boards of an actual tweet when they could just bring it up on the screen.
Yeah, that's a good
the
point.
fact that tweet gets posted up in Congress today.
Yeah, that's now in the record forever in Congress. It's going to go in the archives. That's amazing.
That record too. If they save the physical copy of it, that'll survive even like a solar flare because they printed it out. Like that's in the record for a long time.
That's so good.
It's ridiculous.
Speaking of records, U.S. government releases censored documents detailing fluoride's impact on childhood IQ.
Yeah, it sounds
so before we do the really deep dive into this, I just want to preface everything with saying it was acknowledged by both sides in court that the most impact from this with the IQ impact was children swallowing their toothpaste.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but outside of that, there is still a significant impact. And that's the stuff that's coming out as well. But the biggest demographic that's being impacted, if you look at it, it's and that's why Colgate, going back to the 50s, said don't give this to children under the age of, I think it was like 7 or 8 or whatever,
right?
Because that's about the age that you can teach them, hey, you don't swallow this stuff.
Yeah,
but they're putting it in our reservoirs and our water supply.
Yeah. So, and that's the other part is my grass doesn't have teeth.
All right, guys.
The high school football field doesn't have teeth.
Pause.
Why are we doing this?
Pause, Stephen. We got to say goodbye to Nick. We should have a farewell song. I gotta hop.
Cheers, Nick. Good to see you, brother.
National bylaws time. So next week we'll do better.
Nick.
I think we got a good guest.
Hey, do us proud, brother.
Yeah, go have fun.
You know it.
Good to see you, man.
All right. What were you saying, Stephen?
So it's just the by far the largest use of municipal water is lawns.
Mm-hmm.
Or some kind of we're not even ingesting this, we're just spraying this in the field,
right,
or on the grass or in the garden. So why then does it this is, if it was truly effective and it was truly just about our dental health,
mm-hmm.
I think municipal water is one of the least effective ways to get this to us.
Can I bring up another whole point, which is one, when I drink water, it doesn't even touch my damn teeth. You know what I'm saying? It just goes, it's not even, I'm not swishing it around or whatever. I'm just saying it's a whole other thing. Here's the other thing.
That's fair.
Dosing. If it's truly a medicine and if you're dosing for something, everyone drinks different amounts of fucking water. Like that, you can't do that. Like, there's some cities that are hotter areas that'll give less fluoride or whatever because they're like, oh, people might drink more water, and it's like, but I don't know, man. It's just it's blown my mind when you brought this up, Stephen, earlier. This has been one of the things that since I was like a kid, I was like, why are we putting this in the water? Just like on a principle level, I was like, I don't get it. I don't understand it. Just give free tablets to people in CVS or something if they want to put it in their own water. I don't understand it. I don't know.
Well, and here's the cool part here in Georgia is we just passed a law as 2018, 2019, within the last 5 years. That dental hygienists can administer fluoride treatment without the supervision of the actual licensed dentist.
Oh, that's a whole different thing.
Right. And so because, all right, so you look at, societies like Japan, like Okinawa, for instance, they've been rioting at our presence there, for the last 30 years. One of the most polite cultures on the planet, aside from several hundred years ago when they were raping China.
Right. Is that because we have a base there? Like,
yeah, exactly. So we occupied them after World War II. That was part of the Armistice Treaty. They had to turn in all their samurai swords. We hung out. We stayed there. We maintained a military presence. But Okinawa, Japan, just specifically, is one of the most polite cultures on the planet. And you've got U.S. Marines who, when they're not on duty, they're doing one of the 3 F's.
I know.
They're fornicating or they're fighting or whatever.
What, fishing? What's the other F?
Philandering, maybe. I don't know. That's PH. Whatever. Yeah. But so, they're fornicating or fighting or drinking or a mixture of all 3. Mm-hmm. So they don't like us having us there. But that was also one of the stipulations of our occupation of Okinawa was that they fluoridated.
Is that a verb? Is that a word? Fellation? I don't know. I'm making up a word, but.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, that might be one of them. Not for me, but
that was one of the stipulations of our occupations of the Okinawa prefecture was that they fluoridated their municipal water, and that was one of the reasons, particularly since the late '90s, they wanted us out because they have this fluoride rinse program in their grade schools. That after lunch, you have an optional fluoride rinse. So if the parents are okay with it, the school will give the kids a fluoride rinse. They swish and they spit, and then they rinse with water and they spit the water out. They don't swallow. You do not ingest. Mm-hmm. This is key for this stuff because it's not meant to be swallowed. The American Dental Association even admits the only medicinal application of this stuff is when applied topically to the gums.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, this whole thing, it always reminds me of an episode of Parks and Rec. Like,
a specific episode?
Very specific episode where, I mean, it was like the perfect like example of government propaganda being pushed through a TV show, being pushed through entertainment. And basically,
I want to know when this is because I'm rewatching it now. I'm only on like season 2, so I'll get to this eventually.
Yeah, it's like I think it's after Jeremy Jam is involved, so it's like season 5.
I love that guy.
Season 4 or 5, I think.
Okay.
But, like they basically, through the characters on the show, call anybody who thinks fluoride shouldn't be in the water an idiot and a moron, and it's safe for you. They repeatedly say it's safe for you to drink and all this kind of stuff. And like they do it in a way that is funny, but is also incredibly wrong.
You know what's frustrating is just being a human. I can recognize when something's funny, but I can also get pissed off at the same time. Like it drives me nuts just being.
Oh, it was a funny episode, to be fair.
Yeah, no, like the writing of it, it's like, oh, it's brilliant. I get it. And also the propaganda of it is upsetting. And I have a hard time watching it and watching it with my girlfriend and not ruining the moment, for her. Man.
Oh yeah. But then, when those jokes are made and the jokes are actually kind of funny, and then you say like, oh, well, that's not really based in logic, then you get hit with the fluoride stare of.
But how much does that impact culture where it does because it's funny? How much does that like affect people's way of thinking about something?
Oh, for sure.
Just ask Stephen Colbert. He was having a good grassroots movement to become president.
Yep.
He probably could have.
Until the FEC or whatever, the Elections Commission, because he legit tried to get sponsored by Doritos, and Doritos was all in. And I watched a speech where he was in South Carolina, and at the end of his speech, and he was just like, vote for me and eat Doritos. And then he opened up a bag of Doritos and started eating them.
This is an episode of Wayne's World, honestly. This is insane.
That's
But it was because that was also at the same time he wrote that book, I Am America, and So Can You.
That book is hysterical.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I have
With
the
the
audio
3D
version.
glasses that came with it. Yeah.
I literally thought of
I never read it. I watched I listened to the audiobook because he narrates it.
I
It
was
is
gonna say I've heard
absolutely
him
hysterical.
read it. Yeah. It is funny. Yeah.
The title always pissed me off and made me laugh at the same time because it's
exactly
grammatically so frustrating to say that sentence.
Which, going back to the opening of the show, buffalo. Did you guys know this? That grammatically, you could use the word buffalo in a sentence perpetually, and it's grammatically correct.
Is it perpetual? I knew there was like 5 or 7.
Yeah, because it's all forms of speech. It's a noun, an adjective, and a verb.
So you can just keep cycling.
Yeah.
Wait, whoa. How do you use buffalo as a verb?
Because
what does it mean?
It means to bully someone, I think.
You buffalo somebody?
So a buffalo, as in the animal, from the city of Buffalo, can bully another buffalo forever. Yeah.
Nope. Not a fan of this.
I
don't like English is stupid. Learn a different language.
Well, it's like we borrowed from all the other languages. Like, these make sense, and then we're gonna make it not make sense, and then they're gonna get pissed about it and ask us why. And like, because we won the war. Shut up.
That is so annoying. My goodness. Yeah, no, I don't agree with buffalo.
Yeah. But that's so I do land surveying work, and I talk to people in other countries, and they're like, "Why don't you use metric? It's all in base 10." And I'm like, "Well, cool. We still use feet,
but it's
in base 10.
Yeah.
Instead of inches, I just use a tenth of a foot or a hundredth of a foot." And they're like, "Well, what the hell is that?" And I'm like, "It's a hundredth of a foot. What the hell is a hundredth of a meter?" Same thing.
I've worked in surveying, and I've had the measuring tape that's intense, but it's a foot, but it's intense. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, I don't have that measuring tape. That pisses me off.
I did it for a little while back. My dad's a surveyor, so I worked with him in the summers for a little while. But yeah, it's a tense-based system applied to the UN centigrade, units of measure or whatever.
Right.
It's interesting. Which is a very American way of acknowledging, okay, all right, the tens are easier, but we're not going to go to metric.
Base 10 is legit, but our base unit is superior.
I will say this about the base unit. It's closer to what the Egyptians used with their,
the cubit.
Thank you. I was blanking on the increment. Yes, the cubit. Yes. It's actually kind of cool in a weird way. It gets kind of weird when you get into weird Egyptian symbolism and stuff, and why we have pyramids and monoliths everywhere on the dollar and DC, and we could get into a whole thing with that. And, why the US perpetuates it. That's a whole other topic. But the
grumpy gnome sounds like an architect. Sounds like a guy that I don't really want to hang out with. You got all these fractions you throw it at me. I got a fraction of an interest in all those fractions.
Well, let's pivot again, unless Alden has something else to say.
No. The last thing was just the cool thing about that is if you take the geometry of the pyramids and things like that, and the numbers of it, if you listen to what is it, Randall Carlson or someone talk about it, the
Graham Hancock or guys like that. Yeah. So the Pyramid of Giza. So while we're talking navigation or orienteering or whatever, the 3 pyramids of Giza. So right now the north. So when you think of the North Pole or a star related to north, what do you think of?
The North Pole or the North Star?
North Star. What's the North Star to you?
Isn't it
the one that's called the North
Polaris
Star
or whatever?
Polaris. Yeah. So there's 2 others because the Earth is on a wobble.
Mm-hmm.
So every 13,000 years, there's a new one, Vega and Thuban. Oddly enough, the other 2 pyramids,
they line up to in the procession, the North Star. Yeah,
they're all in Orion's belt. But the 3 pyramids are all aligned with whatever the North Star is at the time.
Yeah, based on thousands and thousands of years, which implies an older age, and we can do.
Wait a second. How did we just get here? What just led us to this? I was doing something else, and I came back, and we're talking about ancient Egypt.
No, because the U.S. centigrade is actually closer to the Egyptians' unit of measure, and so we're keeping that sort of alive. And that unit of measure is based around the dimensions of the Earth and the Moon in different crazy
Gosh,
things.
you guys
like,
are nerds. My God.
I know.
Yeah.
But
Crap.
Oh yeah.
it's actually kind of cool.
All right. Well, let's.
Yeah. So if we
I'll
want to
let
go back
you
in the
move on.
fluoride thing,
Okay.
so the type of fluoride they put in the water. So we started this in 1947 in Grand Rapids, Michigan, which oddly enough was around the same time that we had all this extra byproduct from the Manhattan Project and the start of all the nuclear advent of nuclear fission.
Okay. I knew it was byproduct, and I thought it was byproduct from the aluminum industry and like nitrate fertilizer, but I didn't know.
But it's also a byproduct of the nuclear power industry as well.
Okay.
Whether it's nuclear weapons or power.
I mean, timing wise, it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you're thinking about moving to Tennessee. Just know that we have a major nuclear regulatory agency in Tennessee, and then you got Alcoa, which is one of the biggest aluminum manufacturing producers in the world. They're also hubbed in Tennessee around the same area.
But there is a like huge nuclear facility, right? Like a nuclear power plant in Tennessee. Like
yes,
on the southern side. Yeah, because I've been there a couple times.
Right,
southeast.
and it's right around the same area that Alcoa has their headquarters.
Gotcha.
Oddly enough, and there's a big river there, so just do the math. But so that was the whole thing. I don't have all the evidence on if bribes were paid or anything like that. It's not as clear cut as saying Crisco is good for your heart, like the American Heart Association did in the 1920s for the sum of like $20,000 when it was old machine grease from the submarine from World War I. Right. But so the fluoride in the water, what they're putting in the water, so what your body needs is calcium fluoride in very trace amounts for your bones to maintain density. But any of the other forms is not, anything that your body really needs. And so what they're putting in the water, typically these days, and you can even just Google, is my water fluoridated? And it'll typically take you to some kind of EPA website, and it'll tell you what compound they're using and what ratios they're using. Those are all legally required to be disclosed. But it's usually
because we know they legally disclose everything.
Well, the concentrations are blown out of whack, which is what Aaron Brockovich proved to us.
Oh yeah.
But you have hydrofluorosilicic acid or sodium hexafluorosilicate. And both of these are very nefarious chemicals. They're absolutely hazardous to the skin. You can just Google fluoride leak at water plant, things like that, and you'll see they have to cordon off blocks. Like if any of the stuff ever leaks out, it melts concrete, bro. It's like what's the stuff the Hollywood actors inject in their faces? Botox. It's just as corrosive as Botox.
It's considered a toxic, hazardous waste. Like it's truly byproduct and hazardous waste that is subsidized to be gotten rid of for free and put in the water supply. There's actually problems with the piping. When in the spots where they put it in, it corrodes the piping at those spots, and they have to replace the section.
There's special engines that have to be created to introduce this stuff at certain levels. So if you ever hear commercials on the radio for variable frequency drives, this is one of the applications of this. This is actually the main application of this. The variable frequency drives. But I've got some buddies that work in water departments here and there, and that's you have to totally scrub down and get in Tyvek suits and all this kind of stuff if this stuff is being introduced into the water main.
Tyvek? They make suits out of Tyvek?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I always just think of Tyvek as the stuff that goes up to keep water out of your house when you're like building it.
Oh yeah, no, Tyvek suits are
yeah.
I didn't know it was the same material.
Keeps everything off of you.
I could say that
I've got a couple.
To all of this, you gotta go. Like we could go on for so long about the reports on the fluoride based on sketchy reports, a couple of things, and the whole is it true, is it not, is it bad, is it good? It doesn't even matter, right? In the sense that you should have the right to choose what's in your water, and that if you want to medicate yourself, even if it was a miracle drug, and I'm not saying it is, I think it's horrible, but even if it was, don't put it in the water. We don't put anything else in the water. It's just so weird. Like, how do we get to the point where it's normalized?
So something that's objectively beneficial, like vitamin C. Why don't we put vitamin C in the municipal water?
Right.
Oh, well, that would be too expensive. Well, how much are you paying for this fluoride crap?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
because you got to have special
technically
motors
they're
and the Tyvek suits and the protocols.
Oh,
You wouldn't
well,
have to have any of that with vitamin C.
Yeah.
I'd just be in shorts and a t-shirt dumping vitamin C in the water.
Just
Oh, my water tastes like oranges. I live in Seattle.
dumping Tang in the water. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, good timing, Zach. Too tangy.
That's funny.
It's interesting what's been happening to Erin Brockovich, because she
What's going on now?
she was celebrated back when that movie came out. She was celebrated for all of her work, and now she's speaking out about everything that's happening in Ohio, and they're trying to like cancel her, shut her down. They call her all sorts of names, and basically say she's spreading mis and disinformation. Even though she's a friggin' journalist.
And history proves she doesn't give a crap about any of that.
Oh yeah, no, she didn't at all. She immediately started posting, and it was awesome.
Good. Yeah.
It was pretty great.
I've had a phone conversation with her about fluoride here in Georgia.
No way, really?
Yeah, and she even told me, "Good luck. The chairman of the committee you need to get this bill out of works for Cargill."
Oh, good Lord!
Wow.
And it turns out it was true. It was at the time it was Ed Renders out of Noonan.
Yeah.
And I convinced my legislator to help me with it.
Does
Karen
Cargill
Mathiak out of
handle
Griffin.
fluoride? Like, I imagine they would have byproduct that is fluoride.
And it wasn't an all-out ban, because that's what I was pointing out to her. I was like, all-out ban it's not going to happen. So if we just cut the Georgia limits to half of what the EPA recommends, that's right there, right off the rip, is a 75% reduction. So let's just do that to start. And that bill never got out of committee. And, now since then, Chairman Renders has met an untimely demise via heart attack. And now, my rep
was
is
it from fluoride?
Not very receptive to the issue. So,
dude, the number of people that die who are involved in big stories is astounding. Did you see another one of Epstein's associates was hung himself in?
Were they about to
prison?
testify, or good Lord,
hung himself in prison?
Oh, in prison.
The guards weren't there.
Cameras
were turned off.
Yeah. Oh wow, the trifecta again. Wow. Okay.
Happened again. Like, they're not even.
Do you know the
mixing it up?
Does life insurance still pay out for that?
Oh, interesting. Probably not if you've been committed a crime.
If it's ruled a suicide or whatever. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, interesting.
I think some.
But if the guards weren't there,
yeah. If you're in jail for a felony, I'm guessing that pretty much voids your.
Because what was the thing with Epstein was that the hyoid bone. Oh, if the hyoid bone isn't broken, it's not self-inflicted or something.
Is that in here? The
it's right there. Yeah. No, that's all stupid.
Yeah.
Speaking of stupid, I mean that's a segue into any one of our.
I look in the mirror twice a day at least.
That's a segment title. That's awesome.
Boom.
Speaking of stupid.
After months-long investigation into why police hesitated during the Uvalde school shooting, the answer is in. The police were afraid to confront the killer's AR-15. The funny thing is, this dumb tweet is saying that's the reason we shouldn't have AR-15s.
Is this from what shooting?
This Uvalde, the one.
Oh
in
yeah.
Texas.
Oh, when they waited an hour to.
These people are saying that the fact that they were afraid of AR-15s is a reason that we should not, as civilians, have AR-15s
instead of having different cops.
Right, exactly. Instead of having cops that aren't cowards.
It's a.
But I can still have a 30-06.
Yeah, and
I do too.
Spike says it perfect. The police are cowards, and it's your fault for owning a rifle.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
Spike,
do too, actually.
Spike's
As far as
freaking man.
I mean, I don't want to throw that mantra out there too much and give them, education on where the real damage is really done, But if they're like, I'm coming after the AR-15, so listen, the 223 is a varmint round. It was designed to kill gophers at 300 yards.
Originally, yeah. It's a small round, so it's like a high
prairie dogs and gophers, from far away, so farmers can defend their massive crops.
To be fair, though, AR-15 can be chambered in a lot of rounds, but
that's 223 or 5.56 typically.
Yeah.
That's the most common. But
They're interchangeable.
Boom. There we go. Sorry.
Yeah.
Are they those rounds?
Yes.
Yeah.
At least on the rifles that I lost in a tragic boating accident a month ago.
I do remember that.
That
accident.
is sad.
No, I remember that one.
No.
Yeah. I'm surprised you didn't tweet about it. It was
Right. It was tragic.
Yeah, if you want to do, I mean, I understand that, the rate of fire or whatever, but if you want to do actual damage, then like, yeah, we didn't need that. Whatever,
I didn't like that one. I didn't like that one.
That's too close. But then, yeah, 30-06 is, I mean, going to have like significantly more tissue damage. But
It's just crazy considering like what weapons the cops have. Like every cop in that area was there. SWAT was there. Like they have much bigger guns than this one dude, and they're scared of an AR-15.
yeah,
Well,
we'd have
and
to.
I saw something today while I was scrolling on my lunch break that there was a Buffalo sniper, Buffalo Police Department sniper during the St. Patrick's Day parade over the weekend that was severely injured after he fell off a roof.
Is that
What?
the gun's fault, though?
And I'm like, why do y'all got snipers on the roof for a St. Patty's parade?
That's odd.
Interesting. And it wouldn't have made the news unless he did fall off.
Did they get like a bomb threat or something?
I mean, do they ever?
You know what's funny? This is fodder for another.
Yeah, so that's exactly it, Zach. The 5.56, 2.23, yes, that's why they're varmint rounds. They're intended to maim. So the prairie dogs will get the hell out of your soybeans or your corn. So if you can just nick one, it might bleed to death if you don't hit it right. That's what it was for.
Buffalo sniper.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, that's a great callback, Zach. Good job.
Did you know, I'm less familiar with this as I am with like the 9/11 stuff, but during the Boston marathon bombing or whatever, that day there was, what was it? Like a test for what to do in the case of a bombing for that day, which added to confusion of things, same as 9/11.
So you want to get into that? So let me get you with a local one here around Atlanta, Georgia. I don't know if you heard about the bridge over Georgia 400 catching on fire a few years ago.
I do remember that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, same day they were running a drill, and this is Monica Perez and Brad Binkley were reporting on this one.
Love it.
And the same day they were running a drill on if nuclear material were stolen from the National Nuclear Regulatory Agency that is hubbed in Atlanta. And then we have local law enforcement that had scanner reports for a guy that was reported to have red mercury on his person, which is a substance that's not even confirmed to exist by most government agencies.
I was going to say red mercury is super weird and gets into some other weird stuff. And I was like,
this was all over the scanners.
What?
Like the same day, and then it was like the same day the 400 bridge was on fire.
Red mercury. I haven't heard that since people talking about weird like Nazi technology UFO shit. Like red mercury is a weird name to bring up.
Oh yeah,
it's a discredited substance, most likely a hoax perpetrated by con artists who sought to take advantage of gullible buyers on the black market for arms.
It's Jello, yeah. No,
you are a conspiracy theorist, Stephen. Come on. Enough of
no. But okay, so here's the thing. I don't know much about it, but like I know mostly that it's rumor stuff, But if it was truly though on the scanner, what's it doing there? If it really was,
like they were getting calls, they were getting reports, like homeboy has red mercury, he stole it. He's on such and such road, heading this way.
Was it like a code word?
Stephen, they have no known use in nuclear weapons.
So there you go.
So you're wrong.
Yeah,
interesting.
Wikipedia says so.
The concept here, though, and I'll circle back to the general concept of when the government or the military does a test for a thing, and that same damn day, something very similar happens. This is not the first time. It's happened many times. It's super weird. If you hear there's a test going on in your area, get the hell out of there. Like, something bad's going to happen.
Zach said they blamed a homeless dude smoking crack under the bridge. I did remember that part of it.
Yeah.
That burned down the whole bridge.
Dude, it burned it down so fast. Like it was up in flames. It was so fast.
Yeah.
And then the funniest part is is they rather than it taking months and months and months to repair like it would if the government was doing it, they basically said, this is the amount we'll pay somebody to do it. And it was like a crazy amount of money. Whoever can do it within a month gets this money. And so somebody said, I can do it. And they did it.
Oh, it was C.W. Matthews.
Gosh,
C.W. Matthews
so
was like,
fast.
bet. We about to run some overtime.
It was so fast.
They do all the DOT work for the state anyways. Yeah.
That feels very libertarian.
Well,
yes.
It was
Highest
funny.
bidder. Yeah.
They're saying it's not real, and even if it were, it'd be useless.
Pretty much. Yeah. And then, maybe the homeless crackhead had a Ouija board and he summoned the ghost of General Sherman. I don't know.
Well, let's.
That was quite a tangent, but.
It's a fun tangent, though.
I love it. Yeah.
Let's start easing into what I wanted to talk about tonight, now that we're in hour 2.
Easing in? Yeah. I'll get the lube.
So, the IRS estimates that Americans report on their taxes less than half of all income that is not subject to some form of third-party verification like a W-2.
Good on
Less
them.
than half. Billions of dollars in business profits, rent, and royalties are hidden from the government each year. Spike Cohen says nice, but this guy's point is that these people should be arrested. Which
yeah, well,
so
and the first clue is that his name is Benjamin, but he spells it with a Y.
Benjamin.
That tells you right there.
Well, I just wanted to applaud everybody who does this. I just like 5-second moment of silence for or 5-second round of applause for all the people who hid half of their income. That's wonderful. Good job.
I used to work for tips. I probably didn't claim all of them.
Well, and I like the way Dave Chappelle said it too when he was talking about Trump recently.
Yeah,
he was talking about when he hosted SNL.
Okay.
And he was just like, he's like, I don't like the guy either. He's like, but there was something about it, like when he was campaigning, and he's like, yeah, I'm a billionaire. I hang out with other billionaires. And then Hillary tried to grill him of like, oh, well, you're ducking your taxes. And he's like, because you do it too. It's because we're smart. It's not because we're criminals. He's like, we're following the code that's written.
Oh, I watched that the other day. That was such a good video.
Yeah, I mean, I'm paraphrasing all of it terribly, I'm sure. But it was, that was the central message was like, when Trump was just coming out of the gate, like, yeah, of course I do that stuff. Of course I bribe politicians. So do you.
Oh, big time. I want to see if I can find that. Let's see. Because it was.
I want to pay no taxes at all if I can. That would be my ideal. But how do you
look? I'm okay with paying taxes as long as I have control over how much that is, and it's not based on what I allegedly earn.
Right.
Because look, if you want to tax me on my income, then my mortgage and my groceries and my gas and my insurance, all that crap should come out first, and then my adjusted gross income should be with what I have left, which is a pile of dust. Actually,
that makes sense.
I carry it in my pocket in case someone tries to rob me.
How do you feel about flat rate versus bracket?
Right. Well, no, I'm more of a fair tax guy. If so, that way it would get it off the income thing. It would be more based on consumption. So
like
that way everybody's paying into the tax base that is actively conducting business within your tax arena.
Yeah.
That's the only way to actually do it fairly, because what Benjamin with a Y is actually kind of getting at is that you got these drug dealers and these prostitutes and these these third-party guys, or the 14-year-old in the neighborhood that's cutting your grass under the table. All this kind of stuff is going on, but these people consume things. So if you do it at the point of consumption.
So what you're saying is we should legalize prostitution and drugs.
Well, yes.
Well, of course.
Yeah.
Obviously. 100%.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Well, it's not necessarily that I'm saying like they should be legal in the sense that like they should be mandated and widely distributed, but it's just on what grounds do we ban them? If consenting adults are participating in this exchange.
There's levels to it, whether it's recreational or just decriminalized, and like there's different things there. Yeah, but legitimately though, like as far as a taxable income, like I mean that only happens if it's legal, Yep,
for sure. I mean, on their website, the IRS does say that if you make money dealing drugs, you have to report that income.
Really?
Yeah.
It actually
Oh, yeah.
says that on their website.
No.
Well, and,
that's
and
awesome.
Zach would be happy to know that, I am a psyop. I'll just go ahead and say
I knew it. Yeah.
it.
Well, since it's been 2 weeks, the last time we were on here, no banks had collapsed, and there wasn't a worldwide economic meltdown. But now, banks, is this a banking crisis, and how worried should I be? Stephen, how worried are you about this banking crisis?
Right now, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm about at a 4.
Okay.
I've been hanging out. I was at a 6 during the pandemic, and the fact that we kind of made it through that kind of, I guess, lulled me to sleep. But you look at it, most of the stocks that deal with precious metals, because people will tell you, precious metals were money before money was a concept.
Yep.
All this kind of stuff. So, the miners, they should really be stable. So I put a lot of money in the precious metals mining, and lost my ass, quite frankly, over the last couple of years. But here's the thing, man. As long as the fractional reserve banking system is intact, these people are going to continue creating something out of nothing.
Yep.
And then the FUD is going to be spread through Uncle Jerome right there doing a speech saying everything's fine. And then in the last 10 minutes of a speech, doing some kind of convoluted, so heavily jargon thing that the average idiot's just going to be like, well, it sounded good. He didn't increase the rates as much as the last time, and the money still is coming out of the ATM, so I'm good to go. But quite honestly, if you've been awake for any period of time, you understand that the DXY is like the main chart you can look at. That's the dollar velocity. It's the velocity of the US dollar, and it has steadily been on the decline. And then you also look at the purchasing power of the dollar since the advent of the Federal Reserve Bank, which was a little over 100 years ago, has steadily been on the decline.
I feel like there's a movie that talks about this pretty
absolutely. Yeah.
I think it's called Divide and Dominate. And I think it's this one right here.
There you go. When our grandparents bought a house, it was maybe $20,000. And if they had to finance it, it was 20-something%.
Yeah.
And you had to have your boss, 2 of your best friends, your neighbor, and your pastor sign off on the loan. And there had to be like just this amazing cross section of verification of you're good for this.
Yeah.
Before they loaned you anything, because the bank was legit giving you their assets.
Right.
And then steadily that's crept into that's not happening anymore.
Yep.
We get riskier and riskier with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And was the Glass-Steagall Act protecting us? Not really, but somewhat.
Yeah.
That's been allowed to expire. That has not been reinstated.
Yeah.
Banks are allowed to double dip now. They're allowed to have your deposit money as part of their investment strategy.
I think more than double dip, man. It's it's gotten a lot worse.
COVID, was it true that we made the 10% that they had to hold down to 0 too in the fractional reserve sense of the yeah that's insane.
So now they have no reserves.
That's insane.
I mean it's absolutely insane. And the fact that the $20,000 for a house that Stephen was talking about, what drives me crazy. We actually watched a video 2 weeks ago, the monkeys in the cage who are all beating each other. And then at the end, they're like, well, that's just how things are done. And none of them know why that they're angry at the other people, at the other monkeys. Yeah. It's like people just accept inflation. People just accept that this is just it's just the price of, living. It's just inflation. But the thing is, people from 130 years ago had no inflation because there was no Federal Reserve printing money wildly. People forget and don't understand that the whole reason we have inflation and the whole reason that our economic system is doomed is because you can just print money whenever you want, however much you want.
willy-nilly. Yeah,
And with this,
there's no standard.
Yeah, with this Silicon Valley Bank, they said, we're not going to bail out the bank. So technically speaking, they didn't keep the bank around. They didn't keep all their executives. They didn't do all that. But the federal government still paid all of the money to all of the people who had money in that bank. So it's essentially a bailout. They're just not using the term bailout.
Yeah.
It's much more than a bailout, Jake. This is the nationalization of the banking system. This is one of the last remaining planks of the communist strategy.
Yes.
That's required for them to have total control over our system. Now, is it Xi Jinping, or is it somebody that's also over Xi Jinping? I don't know. But for Biden to so just, nonchalantly blow through this, let's not forget our Lord and Savior Donald Trump took over the U.S. Treasury during COVID with part of the COVID relief measures that they passed. All that stuff, something that was embedded in that gave him control over who runs the U.S. Treasury. As far as I know, that did not expire with his presidency. Those extra measures, just like, was it Reagan that put like the Rex 84 stuff in place?
I can't remember.
When they were all worried about, insurrection and, local militias rising up and things like that. Those things were put in place.
Is it still in place?
Well, they never expired. It's perpetual.
Right.
That's always one of the executive orders that the next president always passes, is to assume these powers. It's perpetuated. These emergency powers that are enumerated during emergency times.
How many?
And if you haven't noticed, we've been living in unprecedented times.
Yeah.
Since 2001.
How many of these things do you think are latently sort of planted legally that are there that we're not like using now, but like that as soon as someone goes like, oh, now, national emergency, let's just, pull
well,
out.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, since we do change power every 4 years, they can't just go back and spend their entire administration repealing stuff. So things just stick on the books. They just don't enforce them. Yeah. And so, but then the next people will, and it'll just stay in.
That's precisely why we need to have sunset clauses on the laws.
Yes.
Where they
this law is set to expire, 10 years from the date of passing, 20 years from the date of passing, whatever it is. And if it has merit, then it's worth that next Congress debating this issue. Because obviously natural laws like rape and murder and all these things are obviously going to always be horrible to every human on the planet. Then it's worth debating and saying, yes, this is still the law.
Aren't we technically still in the same state of emergency at post 9/11 era? Like, because we keep signing, like ratifying it or whatever, like that it's the same. We're still acknowledging that it's actively, that the nation is still under the same duress, and that we are kind of like we did our own thing with like the COVID stuff in terms of, it's like, oh, it's, it's an emergency. And so we need to do this without testing and without all of that. And like, we love to do that. We love to come up with or take advantage of a scenario where, and we can talk about whether it is that or the other, come up with or take advantage of, but where they just pass emergency stuff and they set a precedent for it in emergencies.
That's an interesting one.
Oh yeah, because they trotted it out like 5 days later, like a 600-page document or whatever the hell it was. Like, there's no way.
I don't know. Stephen King could probably write that quickly. So there's got to be somebody.
Stephen King's the only person that could write that quickly. Yeah.
Yeah, but not anymore. You can't do that sober. You got to be on cocaine.
Speaking of sober, I got to go get one more drink. I'll be right back.
Cool. Nick sent this to us earlier. I have not read it. I read the first couple paragraphs, so I don't know everything that goes into it, but it is extremely interesting, the first couple of paragraphs. So if you're interested, go to linalden.com, broke Federal Reserve. Just search that. And it's a pretty interesting article. I'm going to finish it once we're done here, because he sent this to me about 3 seconds before we went live, and I can't read that fast.
Well, and I'm not qualified to give financial advice at all. So, what I'm saying is not financial advice, but, I did go to, if you live in the Atlanta area, you might hear some guys on the radio every now and then for Atlanta Online Trading Academy. I went there. And one of the first things they pointed out to us while they were teaching us, technical analysis of chart patterns and things like that, was that precious metals are a haven. So when they feel like there's uncertainty in the financial markets, cheers, Alden. When they feel like there's uncertainty in the financial markets, that's where people tend to flee to, is precious metals. But so there's one thing that, we talked about, the DXY and the purchasing power of the dollar and how it's steadily decreased over the last 100+ years. And you look at the peak of the Great Depression, silver did not pass $100 per ounce. That was one thing they said. They said silver will never be more than $100 an ounce. And you can look at the charts. Silver has never been more than $100 an ounce. Now, I'm pretty sure George Soros might have been alive in 1920. He's old as hell. But I don't think he was suppressing it from 1920 to 1950. I really don't, that was a steady decline. Now that might have been just a natural reference point. I don't know, but there's just certain chart patterns and psychological barriers that people trade upon. That's one of those things. And so lately, silver has been anywhere from $15 to $25 an ounce. It's been kind of channeling in that range.
Yep.
So if you want more of a warning sign, just look for the price, the spot price. That's what they call the spot price as well. So anybody that's going to sell you silver is going to make something on top of that price per ounce. Usually it's $1.99. You might find some lower, but some of them are going to be $3 or $4 an ounce above that.
Let's try to get that in focus. Come on.
Is it silver?
Come on, camera. Do your thing. There we go.
Yeah, there it is. So, my whole thing is, if you see silver, because silver typically will spike before gold will. Silver will go up 10%, and then gold will go up like 30%.
Yeah.
So that that'll be one of the indicators is people fleeing to physical assets, but cryptocurrency is gonna maintain its.
We'll probably have a bunch.
There's Matt Carter.
Welcome back, Matt Carter. Thanks for commenting. Yeah, I don't know how you missed half this episode, but you might have to. Well, we just kind of started talking about the economic collapse, so you've only missed about 15 minutes of it.
Yeah, so silver's going to spike before gold will, but as long as the internet's in place, which that's what all the bankers I talk to, well, what are you going to do when the internet goes out, you little crypto punk? Oh, you're not going to have shit. Well, by the way, if the internet goes out, you're a banker and you're done too.
If the internet goes out, we got all
because all your dollars are fucking digital. Excuse me, but they're all digital.
Yeah.
The internet goes out, you don't have money either. You're going to open up the vault and actually pass out your dollars.
Yeah.
Do you guys know about the solar flare that happened last week that went on the opposite side of Earth facing, but that if it were facing Earth, it would have been enough to potentially shut down everything?
Interesting.
Yeah. Scary.
Yeah, the solar flare stuff is interesting, but somebody's got a massive Faraday cage with all the records, all the
about Faraday cages. That's interesting.
Well, so the solar flare is relevant too because if you pay attention to Newt Gingrich's presidential campaign, he wrote a book, or he wrote the foreword on a book, talking about insulating our power grid from an X-class solar flare. So you have the Carrington event, which was in the 1800s, which knocked out the entire telegraph system of North America.
The telegraph lines like burning. Yeah.
Like some of them were melted off of their poles.
Yeah.
But then you also had this event in the 1980s. There was an X-class solar flare that happened, just north of Michigan in that area, whatever part of Canada that is. I don't know. Well, once we get out of North America, we get out of the U.S., I don't pay too much attention, but it was in that area. But from what I understand, there were, power poles that were melted off their bases. Traffic lights and all this kind of stuff melted off their bases. An entire city lost their whole grid from an X-class solar flare. And we do have the ability to insulate our grid, which at the time Newt Gingrich was running for president. What was it, 2012, 2008? He did some very horrible things to Ron Paul. So whenever that was
2008.
Yes. Okay. So that was the same time that book was part of his campaign. I was paying attention to that. He was saying at the time it was $2 billion. We can insulate our grid from an X-class solar flare. Which, if you know anything about the sun, it runs in like 11-year cycles. And then of greater activity and lesser activity. When it's in the cycle of lesser activity, known as the Maunder minimum, which we are currently in, it's known to have more violent solar flares during that time.
The sun has like micro and macro cycles. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Some a couple decades and some 12,000 years. Yeah. But
right. So, despite the UN passing resolution in 2006 saying that the sun doesn't affect our climate, the sun does run in cycles of more activity and less activity.
The sun influences all of our climate.
All of it. What makes you say that, Alden?
Climate. Yeah.
Gosh, that's.
Oh, we're gonna get banned now.
It's pretty racist.
You're saying some crazy stuff right now.
Yeah. What do you do? I don't know.
But people they're gonna run to physical assets. So land, gold, silver, crypto, all that stuff are great ideas. Things that you can touch and hold and physically defend by yourself without some kind of government guarantee.
Yep. What year was it that the gold standard was done away with?
Nixon.
Yeah, it was Nixon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
70s.
So since then, it's been, I don't know.
Even before then, man, it was going down. Like, I mean, you saw my movie. Like, you saw the charts.
Yeah.
Like, it was going downhill before we got off the gold standard. It just tanked after the gold standard.
Well, and then we had the recent event with the Perth Mint out of Australia.
Yeah.
I think we talked about this in a previous episode. They were diluting the gold they were selling on the Shanghai exchange. Now it's fractions of a percent. Mm-hmm. So, to guys like me and you, it doesn't really make a difference. But, if you're buying millions and millions of dollars worth of gold, 3% makes a difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. I did see some gold bars that Perth prints, and they're cool as crap, man. Like they're really neat. Like, how like some of those gold bars, the 1 ounce bars, they're real shiny. They're nice and like real crisp. The Perth ones looked like they were like from the 1800s or from like BC era, like something that they would have in like Constantinople or something like that. Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They look real cool.
The Perth Mint is the only mint on the planet that has a government backed guarantee. So unimpeachable quality, unimpeachable delivery, all of it.
And yet, right? Weren't you just saying that they were?
And yet it was being diluted,
Yeah.
and ironically enough, by Great Britain's former debtors' prison.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it is interesting. Well, we've got one congressman. I don't know who this is. Somebody tell me who this is.
I don't know.
But he's saying backing Bitcoin supports freedom and sound money. So that is unique for a congressman to say that. So I thought it was worth putting out there. We need to figure out.
His haircut tells me he's either one of my uncles or from somewhere here in the South.
Zach, Mac, Grumpy Gnome, any of y'all know who this guy is? Because we should definitely say his name.
I like that it just says U.S. Congressman. It doesn't even bother naming him.
Like why don't you name him in the dadgum tweet? It's really freaking stupid. I couldn't find a picture. I can't go through 400 congressmen or congress folks, right? 2 seconds
Congress
before the
folks.
show. Congress folks.
Official term, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, for me. Wait, here we go. Oh, he's a Fed plant. Okay.
Mac, we're talking about the congressman on the screen, not me.
Everyone already knows that about you. He doesn't need to say it out loud.
I am the psyop.
That should be a name of a beer that we do, yeah. Wait, did you just hold up a beer?
I did.
Yeah, I was gonna say you should name a beer psyop. Like,
yeah, right. That'd be cool.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Theme, yeah.
Heck yeah. Yeah. I definitely understand the temptation to only get like physical, like gold, silver, that kind of thing when shit's about to hit the fan. And just because of the amount of power that it takes to keep the internet up at all times. And like, if, the only thing that can take out everything is a solar flare, like a massive solar flare. Other than that, blockchain is going to be around forever, and you're going to be able to trade crypto, trade your Bitcoin wherever.
Well, even with the next class solar flare, so you'll knock down the grid, you'll knock down the internet as we know it, but you'll still have peer-to-peer applications.
So you'll still be able to
local, Bluetooth, infrared transfers, intranet will still exist.
That depends on the strength of the solar flare and how much it affects just things that are like metal.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're in the direct impact zone, obviously, your stuff's going to get wiped.
Yeah.
But everything outside of that, you could go grid down. So you got to understand, there's single digit power plants that are critical to our backbone of power in the U.S. I think it was like 8 or 9 or something like that. There was a U.S. Navy SEAL that was talking. I was watching one of Jocko Willink's podcasts, and he was talking about this stuff. He's one of Joe Rogan's friends, and he doesn't really get political. He just usually talks about like self motivation and being an awesome human kind of stuff.
Yeah, he does do that.
But he was just talking about out of like the 8 or 9 major backbone plants that are online or that are integral to our power generation backbone. Most of those, like 3/4 of those, are on the internet. And just look at what we did to Iran with Stuxnet.
Yep. No, I agree. The fact that they are online, it's funny because they try in. Did you ever watch? Let's see. It was Live Free or Die Hard.
Die
Hard number 4 or 5, one of those two. It's the one with Timothy Oliphant as the bad guy. They make it in that movie. They make sure that power plants are not online and that it's impossible to hack in. And I think that as well was like
with
pushed by the government to make sure people
Woodlawn thing that they did.
Yeah.
And
all these things are not connected to the internet. They can't be hacked. You have to go there physically on site to do anything with them, which is just a load of crap.
Well, that's like most of our biggest nuclear missile sites are still operating off the 3.5-inch floppy that we all grew up playing Oregon Trail on.
Or even the bigger.
That's what that. You can't hack that, bro.
Yeah.
There's no hacking that. You've got the floppy or you've got the solid, and only the floppy goes in the slot.
John Oliver had a thing that he ripped on it. But honestly, it's safer in the sense that you cannot do it remotely. Yes,
it's way better and it's more reliable. Like all this, just take a regular car to an electric car. Like the longer we've had our Tesla, the worse it has gotten. Because,
you have a Tesla?
Yeah, the worse.
I didn't even know that.
Well, either way, the worse it has gotten because of computer bugs, because of updating software, because of hacks that were in the system. They had to put out software updates, all these software updates. But a car from the 70s that has no computer in it, that is just metal and gas, that thing will run forever. And I don't know. There's something about everything.
And an EMP can go off, and that alternator is going to go out, but you can still get up under there and tap it with a hammer.
Yeah, exactly. And
get it to engage, and it'll still crank.
Yeah.
Tap the starter motor.
Yeah. So like an EMP goes off, that's going to be a little whack, but you can still just tap the starter with a hammer. Tap that little black cylinder with a hammer. There you go.
Mac, I now question your choice in TV shows because
I haven't. Is that with
that show was garbage. Garbage premise, garbage show. That was the one with Jason Momoa.
Yeah.
Okay. I've been rewatching the Fringe series.
Oh gosh, that show is so good.
By the way, R.I.P. Lance Reddick.
Right.
But yeah, that show was it was great. And oddly enough, so I start rewatching it. Then a week later, my dad texts me and says, "I just ordered all the Fringe DVDs."
There we go. Yeah, there you go. Manual shift cars. You can always push start.
There you go.
Yep.
For all of them?
Yeah.
Really?
I'm pretty sure. Right.
I was in the Karate Kid, so I gotta believe it.
Not anything. I don't think anything now.
That's what I'm saying.
Everything has a computer with it, but I don't think
the old Volkswagen.
I don't think that applies.
Yeah, the older stuff, you just hold in the clutch, get somebody to push you down a hill, and
yeah.
I did that with my motorcycle so many times because the battery just sucked on the Triumph, and I'd have to push it up a hill and then roll down real fast.
The battery was the problem, or did it have a bad alternator to like charge
it definitely sucked the battery dry quite a bit for no reason. So,
was there something engaged and running? You could get a voltmeter and test it and see if it's draining. Like
I don't have it anymore. I sold it. So I no longer have a motorcycle.
Did you have I thought you had a Shadow when we were.
I had a Shadow, and then I got hit by a car in Los Angeles a week after moving there.
Oh.
Well, and then the inverse of that, the whole pop and the clutch thing, the inverse of that is my first car was a Rolls Canardly. It rolls down one hill, Canardly make it up the next.
Oh, I was like, what is that?
I was like, what are you talking about?
I was like, I've heard of a Rolls Royce, not a Canardly. That's hilarious.
That is pretty funny.
I still have the same car that I've had my whole life. I've only had one car. And I
saw the Honda Element?
I still have the Element, yeah. Yes. And I think I'm trading it in like in a week or something, and it's going to be kind of sad, but
what are you going to get?
I'm open to suggestions. I don't know.
I have no idea, man. You got to get a truck.
I wanted one, but I can't afford a damn truck. I had an order in for a Maverick for like a year almost, because
dude, get you an F-150, like anything from 05 to 2017. Get you an F-150.
I will probably eventually. So for right now, not to get too into it, but like right now I'll have to share a car with my girlfriend, and she don't want to drive an F-150. Like there's just no way. So I got to get something small for us to kind of split for the time being. But when I get situated, I'll get one.
They're an absolute pain to work on. You got to get a special wrench to change the spark plugs. But there is a reason for 10 years in this country that was the choice car of millionaires.
Wait, what? What car?
F-150.
But dude, my granddad's 1999 Ford Ranger is still trucking.
Yeah, those are good trucks, man.
Yeah.
And that's probably more of the size that
they never forced unionized. They didn't take the Obama bailout money. None of that.
They're the only
now their brake pads totally suck. They don't match anything else. You have to have a special wrench to change the spark plugs. You got to watch hours of YouTube videos if you're not an actual mechanic. Or just be prepared to pay the mechanic a little extra to work on it.
Turns out she said it was Army Ranger.
I've changed spark plugs before. It usually just takes like a pretty classic, just an extension for your driver or whatever, and you can just drop down whatever millimeter.
Well, with Ford, it's proprietary.
That's Ford. I'm used to hearing that with stuff like German makes or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, working on my Sprinter van is a nightmare.
See,
and then with Cadillac, if you want to change the headlights, I got a buddy that had a 2012 Cadillac CTS, and cost him $800 to get a headlight replaced at the mechanic, because the mechanic called him back and was like, "I got to pay $450 for a special wrench just to take off the bolts to this headlight." And then the headlight itself is $250
for an American made.
Oh yes.
Why?
People are.
It's wild.
That's insane.
Just know that John Deere and several other manufacturers had a case that went to the Supreme Court, and it was mainly for farming equipment.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't want people, with all the mechanized and computerized things of today, they didn't want people to be able to service their proprietary equipment.
Yeah, I've heard about this
in their own garage.
Mm-hmm.
And I know John Deere was spearheading
Tesla does
that.
the same thing.
Yeah.
Yep, Tesla does the same thing. I love watching YouTubers who rip apart Teslas. It's my favorite thing. A guy put 10-foot diameter wagon wheels on a Tesla. It's one of the best videos, and drove it around. He drove it over a giant metal gate. Just destroyed the gate and sent it careening down a hillside, and you see the wheels fly off. It was amazing. He just does crazy tests with Teslas and just destroys them. It's good.
Yeah, I have to see what that looks like, but
yeah, that was a funny one.
I'm not in Tesla territory at this point. I'm in somewhat economy vehicle or whatever, but
I'm right there with you, man. I'm like, hey, give me a 2015 Prius.
Yeah, I
maybe.
would I wanted something that could go a little bit more because I'd like to get into like some more like overlanding and camping and kind of stuff like that.
Nice.
And so I wanted something that was a little bit more, capable. I don't know. I still got this order in for this Maverick. We'll see when I get it, but it might be 2080. I have no idea.
It very well could be.
It's insane.
I just want to hit back on the economic meltdown because this is all I've been thinking. It's all I've been thinking about. We don't have to keep talking about it the whole time, but like it's all I've been thinking about for.
It's
like
not even that
2 weeks.
distant of a segue from the automotive industry anyway right now.
That's fair. That's fair. What drives me nuts is people assume that it can be fixed. I think that's the biggest problem. They assume that like the federal government can fix the situation. And
the same people that fucked it are going to fix it.
Yeah.
Well, they derive their power from the consent of the governed.
Yeah.
So as long as people believe in the tooth fairy, there's still going to be $3 under their pillow when they lose a
And when
molar.
you have Hollywood telling you the tooth fairy's real, and the news and every other thing.
So, as long as you believe in the system, I would say, buy into institutional names that predate and are instrumental in the founding of our backbone. So like, JP Morgan Chase, guys like that. So that, if you see big players like that start to be in trouble, the strength of the US dollar is the least of your problems.
Yes.
Because
it's
just
one
know
of many problems. Yeah.
They are the founding member of the Federal Reserve. So, if you're looking for like what's safe within the bubble, you just look at like what was around before the bubble was created. Is it still there? That's what you go with.
And when you
but
say
otherwise,
created,
buy physical assets, gold, silver, land, things you can control, or crypto, things that you can just, plug in your USB drive and take off of the internet and carry it around in your pocket and have on a peer-to-peer sharing platform. I'm not qualified to say what's the best or most right answer, but it's just, if the US dollar is collapsing, there's not a whole lot of foreign banks that are going to be safe either.
No, and you already see them collapsing as well.
And I know, most of the guys that I know that if the US dollar is worthless and there's no internet and you're trying to buy a dirt bike out of their garage, you cutting, a few ounces off of a gold bar ain't gonna cut it.
You're darn right.
It's an interesting point in terms of like the used market and the like taxless under the table market of things without a cash way to do it.
Yeah.
Why don't we let's watch a little clip from Divine Dominate. We haven't done that in a while.
Yeah, we have.
Do
we
it.
haven't
do
ever,
some shameless self-promotion here. Let's hang on, let me get I gotta stop sharing the screen, then I gotta share a different screen because I had to go to a different one. Oh man, I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to do it. Dadgummit.
Why?
Because I can't share audio through anything but the Brave tab, and I can't watch it on Brave because I don't have the right plugins installed. Anyway,
you can't share audio outside of the Brave. What are you plugged into? You're plugged into just through the StreamYard or whatever.
Yeah, I'm in StreamYard, so it's on Brave.
So you'll just have to put your mic up to it, like.
No. We'll I'll postpone that for the time being, and we can continue talking, and I'll try to figure out a way.
You need to post your own clips of your own film on the internet so that you can access it through Brave.
That's very true.
It would work.
Well, the issue is, I don't know why I don't want certain plugins on Brave for me to have to. I don't know. There's some security concerns.
No,
they warn you before you install them, which is why I like Brave. It's great. But
I get
anyway,
super paranoid about those.
So getting on some of the stuff Mac is talking about the comments right now. It's
I can't see the comments.
I don't want to give into the whole fear of like it's a mad run, get everything out. But look, entertain the possibility that sometime 3 months from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, next year, whatever, you're going to go to the ATM and nothing's going to be there because it's already known through this SVB stuff, through this bailout, which is more than a bailout. Okay. This is not just a bailout. This was, they guaranteed the deposits of all the creditors of this bank, which was the largest venture capital lender in the country.
Mm-hmm.
They guaranteed the deposits of all of them off of our backs. This isn't a bailout. This is the nationalization of the banking system. The entire banking system is too big to fail. If you're more than just a regional lender, you're too big to fail.
It's also
therefore we
out
guarantee all of your transactions.
Right. It's another consolidation.
So there's more to it than this. There's more implications than this. They might take, years to come to fruition, or, based on global conditions, could be months. I don't know. I'm not qualified to make this judgment. Just want you to know, one, get right with God or whatever your higher sense of priority is. Just please tell me it's not government. Get right with that. And then just make sure that you have control over your physical assets.
Yep. Well, I figured out how to share this. So
right.
Here we go. I'm going to actually take off our brand so that you can see the whole daggone thing once I hit play. So here we go. We'll watch a couple minutes of it. I own all the copyrights. It's great.
That's true. You're not going to sue you.
The people who can print money are the Federal Reserve and the bank.
By the way, I've heard that guy is a total a-hole.
He is a total a-hole. Even though he's probably watching right now, he's definitely an a-hole.
Your bank account has
Love you, Jared.
$1,000 in it. There aren't $1,000 bills. There's not 10 $100 bills sitting somewhere in some bank's vault, which is why when you go to the bank, you can't just go and withdraw $20,000. They're going to look at you like you have three heads. They're going to say, I'm going to have to go report this. Can I get your social security number so I can file a suspicious incident report? Because the banks just don't have the money in their vaults.
Head of one of the richest families to ever exist, Amsel Rothschild, put it this way: permit me to issue and control the money of a nation, and I care not who makes its laws. In other words, we're at the whims of whomever controls our currency. 3 years after that secret Jekyll Island meeting, the Federal Reserve Act was signed into place by President Woodrow Wilson, giving a private company exclusive control of printing our money. The act is even written in such a way that neither Congress nor the president has the ability to control it. The Fed, as we call it, is completely autonomous. Let's see what has happened to a few important statistics since the creation of the Fed. This graph represents the United States national debt. In the year 1913, the government had been steadily paying off the debt accumulated during the Civil War, with roughly $2 billion remaining on the tab. Then the Fed came, and the government acted like a kid in a candy store. Suddenly, money was easy to get, and IOUs became the government's main form of payment. They borrowed more and more each year until now, in the year 2022, the debt has increased from $2 billion to more than $30 trillion. $30 trillion. That's what your government owes the Federal Reserve, as well as other countries like China, Japan, Brazil, Ireland, and the UK, among others. Now, here's a graph that illustrates the purchasing power of the dollar. We'll put that graph as starting in 1913 and give you $100, meaning that your $100 is worth exactly $100 in 1913. Within 5 years, you've lost half of your money, dropping it down to $50. That means if you were buying groceries in 1918 with that $100, you would only be able to afford half the groceries you normally bought in 1913. Less food. These people want us to starve to death. But let's keep going. A steady decline over the decade, and that $100 you own, it's getting less and less value. All the way up to year 2022, where the value of that $100 is only worth 97 cents. You can't even buy gum anymore. You're in the candy bar aisle. You're begging these people, hey, let me at least buy a Baby Ruth bar. No one even likes these Baby Ruth bars. And they're like, nope, those are $1.60. We got inflation, and your 97 cents isn't even worth the 97 cents anymore. This shit gets confusing. You know what? I'll simplify it for you, though. 97 cents, meaning your $100 lost 99% of its value in 1 century. Does keeping your money in dollars sound like a good idea? You want to be roaming these aisleways, unable to even buy Baby Ruth bars?
So inflation is
That's crazy. Easy math, 1% a year, like that's insane. But
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's crazy that people have forgotten what money was prior to the Federal Reserve.
mm-hmm.
And it's horribly depressing. And it's crazy that within 5 years, their money had lost half its value.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
5
There's
years.
a good book that I've been reading my son as a bedtime story for the last year. None dare call it conspiracy, and it doesn't touch so much on the 1920 to 1950 range. It focuses more in like the 1940 to 1970 range of things. It does mention what kind of went on there. I mean, but it names names. I mean, politicians, institutions,
Wow.
how the money changed hands, what happened. Nova Scotia, Canada, harbored Karl Marx.
Really?
Before he went over and just wreaked havoc.
Wow. That's interesting.
So
Interesting. What's the book called?
None dare call it conspiracy.
None dare call it conspiracy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great title. It's a
How
really
old's
good
your son?
title.
That's right. And my 6-year-old, I get 2 pages in. It's like I karate chopped him in the side of the neck. He's done. And,
That's perfect. That is perfect.
and I'm sitting there, I'm all excited. I'm like, 5-6 pages. Oh, this is my soul on a page. And then I get 10 pages in. Mary's done. She's
This
out.
is me trying to talk to my girlfriend, man. She gets sleepy, man. Yeah, I don't know.
That's so good. Well, I guess my whole point, like, since I've been focused so much on this in my personal life recently, I just wanted to reiterate that the government cannot fix the problem that is happening. And the more that they try to fix it, the worse that it's going to get. And the more that you should be looking for alternatives to the dollar.
The government,
technically financial advice, but the dollar definitely has lost value over the last 100 years.
yeah, literally. I feel
Good
like
night, Grumpy Gnome.
Later.
Good
I feel
night.
like the government literally creates problems and then tries to argue for 20 years over a solution to the problem that it made, which then has its own problems that they need then solutions for it. And it's like if you remove them out of the equation, it's like a self-fulfilling sort of cycle. It's I don't know. It's insane.
Yep. So we're going to wrap up here in a second. I know that somebody just cracked a new beer, but one of our friends, Misa's friends, Alden, I don't think you know, Forest Mommy, but she is, she's been doxxed. Y'all seen this? She's been doxxed, and whole bunch of people are attacking her online, especially because she's trying to run for office in the city of Arvada in Colorado. So we just wanted to let people know that and go follow her and support her because, she's going through it right now. And we're going to try to have her on the show at some point in the near future. I know that Zach messaged her, so we'll see how that goes. But she's.
I want to talk to anyone
libertarian
that gets branded this easily as anti-vaxxer. Like that already makes me I'm interested to talk to you. I don't know what that makes me, but
hang on. What'd you say, Nikki?
People from Colorado say Arvada.
Okay, well, people from Colorado apparently call it Arvada, but they also say Colorado, so they can't be trusted. According to my wife.
Yeah.
She's from Colorado. But they call it Colorado because they're weirdos.
There you go. From CO. We'll do that.
There you go.
Let's see. A dude I follow on Twitter called Jeremy, you're watching Disney Channel. That's good. And I agree with GMM. Completely agree with GMM.
Well, and so the important part that I am going to say that, and again, I'm not qualified to make financial advice. Gold and silver, if you're looking at them, gold and silver, if you're buying them, make sure that you can touch and hold this gold and silver.
Yes.
That this is in your hands and not in someone else's, or if it's in someone else's, it's in a storage facility 5 to 10 minutes from your house that you can go drive to, and you can come grab it and pick it up and take it to your house if you want.
So you're not an advocate for buying stocks based on silver. You're saying
Both.
own silver.
Both.
Mhm.
Both.
Okay.
Both. If you can afford it, both. But man, I couldn't believe it. So this one lady that I've been following on YouTube is a like golden, like precious metals investor, and she buys the real thing, but she also invests in the commodity. She kept going on about how she stores all of her gold and silver in vaults all around the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there like, how do you believe in this system and you're investing in gold? Like, how are you going to get to that gold and silver
If you need
the
it.
world goes to crap? Like, what are you talking about? Why are you keeping it in a bank? Don't do that.
I would even ask a secondary question here, which is, at what level are we saying the world goes to crap? Because if the world really goes to crap, you know what's going to be worth more than gold and silver is food and water. You know what I mean? Like the true
Ammo.
things, like you can't do anything with gold, really. I mean, not if not much, not really, not if there's not any kind of actual trading system. Still, it depends on what level of goes to crap.
Yeah, for sure. But like, you should not be, as Steven said, you should be storing whatever precious metals you have somewhere where you can actually go touch them without any barrier to entry. Like you got to be able to physically touch that stuff.
And just be aware that what you see online, say the spot price of silver is $25 an ounce, you're going to pay a dealer $28 to $30 an ounce to get the silver.
Yeah.
That's how they make their money.
Yeah. Unless you go mine it.
Physically mine it, yeah.
There you go.
Gold and silver pop quiz for you.
Go.
What do you think our government said happened to the gold and silver reserves under the World Trade Center building after 9/11?
I would guess that they said it melted.
They basically said that evaporated, that it's unobtainable, that they could not recover it, that it just evaporated into thin goddamn air. Like,
even though we've got trucks on video leaving the buildings premises 2 days before.
Steven, I want to talk to you about this one. We need to make a fucking 9/11 episode, and it's gonna be a good / bad time. Like,
should that be our first conspiracy theory episode?
It has to be. How is it not if you go chronologically, like how far back do we go? Like, what is modern? Like, is JFK the marker of like modern conspiracy?
We could go back to ancient time conspiracies. Like, who cares?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, what do we like? What where do we start with it? But like, I don't know. I would be maybe most interested in the 9/11 one, but
I mean, that's definitely the one most likely to get us kicked off YouTube.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm just a proponent of talking about all the kinds of things that would get you absolutely banned. But
yeah, I mean, that's kind of what libertarianism is at this point. Like,
whatever
we want to talk about is the stuff that can get us banned. So
yeah,
it is what.
Oh
it
yeah.
is.
Well, if we're going to end this, we can do that. I've got more to talk about, but I need a break. We're going to keep talking.
What do you got to talk about? What do you need to talk about?
Well, I mean, we can just keep riffing on certain topics. I could announce, the screening of your documentary that we just aired a clip of.
Hey, let's keep going then. I've got nowhere to be. I'm going to get another drink though.
There we go. Let me take a quick break. I'll be right back.
Break, me and Alden will chat, and then I'll go.
Okay, I was going to say I was going to get a beer, but I don't want everyone to leave yet.
No, everyone can't leave. That's ridiculous.
Irresponsible. Yeah, we need to drink and live stream responsibly. Yeah.
Yeah, but man, what? So I know before we went live, you said that you don't know much about like Bitcoin and CBDC and all that kind of stuff. Like, what kind of questions do you have?
So I'm like a noob. I only have the basic level, like, just a couple of $1,000s worth in like on a Coinbase platform. Like all of the like probably hardcore, Bitcoiners are probably like a lot of, don't do's, from what I've done. I don't have like an actual wallet. I don't have anything. You know what I mean? I'm like really new to
I'm going to kill you. Get off of Coinbase.
I know. I know it's bad. Like, I know it's not good. But it's like when I only have like $2,000 worth in there, if I lose it all, it's like, I don't know. I was an idiot and, I knew the risk kind of a thing. But like, I don't have a lot of money. So like, if I start putting a lot more money in it, I will get set up better. But
the issue isn't so much that you'll like, I mean, are you thinking you're going to lose it due to market volatility or to Coinbase being hacked or whatever?
Being more the vulnerability point.
I got you.
Yeah.
Dude, there's just the easiest wallet on earth is called the Arculus.
Arculus? I gotta write this down.
Arculus. Yeah. Actually, I'll pull it up right here too.
I always have like a notepad out because I'm always like jotting things down as we're talking about this. But
this is my absolute favorite wallet that I have. I have a few of them.
This is spelled
the best
it right.
one. Heck yeah. So
okay.
What I see as one of the barriers to entry is how complicated getting crypto and exchanging crypto and buying with crypto can be.
I, as a total noob, will tell you I agree. So
yes,
it's a little like intimidating for someone that's like, I'm not very tech savvy. I'm the person that I'd rather have like a truck from 1972. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I was born in the wrong time, but the world is expanding around me, and I'm like, I need to learn about it. But
so yes, that is exactly correct. When I say crypto, I only mean Bitcoin. I'm not a proponent for any other type of.
Yeah, you've said that where like you're really only like Bitcoin is the coin. You don't. You're not into like sushi coin and whatever else is going on.
If you want to mess around with like volatile things and like try to make money by spot trading and limit trading and all these different things, go for it. I think you're going to lose all your money unless you're absurdly smart and lucky.
Well, if you want my crude take on some of the most popular coins right now, so you got Bitcoin that was designed solely and specifically to function as a currency, which it does very well.
Yep.
And the U.S. SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, not the football people, they have acknowledged that Bitcoin,
the SEC,
is a currency, and Ether or Ethereum. So you've got you've got the Ethereum network.
So that's its own blockchain or its own network?
Yeah, the Ethereum network is its own network, and its specialty is contracts. The smart contracts. So like the business deals, things like that. So if you're gaming or you're selling art or things like that, the Ethereum network is kind of like your place to go for that. But Bitcoin is solely and specifically a currency, and so some of these other things. And then you mentioned the Sushi Swap. Sushi Swap is on. It's an ERC20 token, from what I understand, which is on the Ethereum network. So there's other lesser currencies that function on that platform.
So how many
networks are there? It's real important to make that distinction between the network and the currency.
I agree. Right.
Specifically with Ether and Ethereum, you have the Ether token fuels the Ethereum network.
Yes. Right. So how many main networks are there?
There's like 10 that anybody's ever heard of.
Okay.
Yeah. There are a bunch, but a ton of them are.
I'll say EOS is one I'm a fan of.
There's Polygon. There's
you talked to me about that one. I think
there's a bunch, but the only one, in my opinion, the only one worth mentioning ever is Bitcoin.
Okay. When you're talking about currency, yes. Bitcoin is the cryptocurrency.
Okay.
So if you're talking about the whole crypto, sphere, the whole world of crypto, they all have their functions and their purposes.
So if Bitcoin, as a comparison here, if Bitcoin is the US dollar, what are the other ones? What are the other crypto options? Like, is there no
Ether would be the Swiss franc.
Okay. Why so?
That would be the contracts and the business deals and the things like this and that and the other.
Okay.
I don't know how to make that comparison. I don't know.
It's tough because we just talked about how corrupt the U.S. dollar is and the whole U.S. banking system.
Yeah, I don't like making this comparison. That analogy.
Exactly. Hey, if you were a Cancer, which one would you be?
Yeah, that's not my favorite, but I mean, one of the biggest, like I was saying, sorry, we kind of got off track. Arculus, this wallet, cold wallet, makes it absurdly easy to send, receive, buy Bitcoin, and then pay for things with Bitcoin. So you can tap this card
I like easy
at certain places and pay for things with Bitcoin.
So you get the physical card. That's cool.
That's a physical card.
Awesome.
And it's 3-factor authentication. So it takes like your passcode, it takes your phone, and it takes that card in order to make a transaction.
So you have verification through your like cell number. You have the physical card, and then what's the other one you said?
Passcode.
Oh, okay, just a typical. Yeah.
So this
lot,
negates, the credit reporting agencies.
Yes.
Because what was that whole thing with Equifax? Where the password was admin just a few years ago.
Nice.
Good God, guys! Are you kidding
this
me?
is a much better analogy that Zach brought up. The analogy is Bitcoin is gold, and the rest of the shit coins are fiat money.
Okay.
In terms of currency, but the Ethereum network has valid use for as a business platform for the smart contracts. Those are a burgeoning thing that have been honed and tested and used, and they were great.
Yes, that is true. Like all the apps and the contracts and stuff that are made on the Ethereum network definitely serve a purpose. But if you're trying to have a long-term storage and of your money and have it maintain its value, Ether is not the way to go.
Well, and Vitalik Buterin, the creator of the Ethereum network,
he's the worst.
Even tells you this.
Yes. Plus, he's just the friggin' worst, dude. He meets with so many central banks. It's disturbing. And ask them what kind of laws that he should include in the making of the Ethereum network.
What's his name again?
Vitalik Buterin.
Yeah.
I think I know this person. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I think I know
it's definitely not
he went over during the Obama years and taught Pooty Poot how to run his military with the AI-backed blockchain.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah,
because that was back when old Pooty Poot was talking about whoever merges AI and blockchain is going to rule the world.
Well, yeah,
and he went over there for 6 or 8 months and
Skynet
started talking about the stuff.
Yeah, blockchain Skynet. Yeah, that'll be fun. He's back.
Dead air.
There we go.
That was the fastest. I was just gonna say that was the fastest break. I was prepared to go on a whole tangent, but you gotta. What do you have, a beer cooler in your office?
My kitchen is right next door.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. This is technically the dining room. This is an old school '60s house.
I keep my beer in the garage fridge. It's on the opposite side of the house. But
there we go.
Well, sucks for you.
I keep 6 within reach while I'm doing these podcasts. So.
You're like a hip pack, you're at all times. Yeah,
that's right.
Well, it's my turn then to go get another beer. I'll be right back.
Fair enough. Do it. But yeah, Arculus, all-time favorite.
That's great. It's absolutely great. And so as this gains steam, this is going to be our leverage to push back on our legislators and people that set our monetary policy or our internet safety policies and security policies, to tell them that we don't need these credit bureaus data mining us and lording over us with no oversight.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to have one of the major credit bureaus in the country compromise 200 million identities because your password is freaking admin on a server down in Argentina that's not even in this country, at that point it's time to put the control of our identities and our secrets in the hands of the actual person whose identity and secrets they are.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, completely.
Right.
That's the best thing about crypto, is that you don't have to rely on anybody else to keep your stuff secure. If you want it secure, you can make it as secure as you want.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that was one of the stories. I was browsing Zero Hedge the other day, and they were talking about that. Car loan applications are being denied at the highest rates in the last 6 years.
Yeah.
And some of the questions they ask on these applications are not necessary to whether or not you can fulfill this car loan.
That's not surprising.
Right. So what if, just, libertarian utopia thinking here, what if we didn't have these credit bureaus lording over us like the NSA. You know, with this crossover that, you know, whatever the NSA doesn't grab, they do.
Mm-hmm.
And that, you know, all of your financial data ever is in your hand at the point of sale.
What a world.
And they can make their decision there.
Yeah.
And there's no, you know, national or even regional authority over this. It's their decision only.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Man, the whole like loan situation is just a crock as well. Like Nick, my wife and I always like we've tried to get loans in the past to buy a house, you know, but since we're 1099, we, you know, it's a nightmare. No one will give us a loan, even because they only look at taxes.
Yeah.
So if you don't show that you paid any taxes and how much you know, because we always show losses on our businesses because we're always reinvesting and we write everything off. But we can prove that we can afford it, and then they say, nah, no way, can't give you money. It happens every time. We had to get a co-signer on the house we're in.
Who's not giving you money? The banks, or
the banks. It's
insane. And that's fine though, you know, because that's kind of how it was. It was, you know, you got to have a co-signer. So that means that, you know, you have to say, you know, someone can vouch for you. That's not us because we don't know you.
Right.
You know, we have money. You need our money. We don't know you. Who do you know? We need to know them too. Yeah.
That's the issue.
I mean, that kind of
I mean, the ridiculous part is we sold a place in Los Angeles that was the payments were more than the payments on this place in order to get this place, and we didn't get approved for the loan.
I think the banks know that shit's risky. You know what I mean? Like, I think banks are less willing to give out loans at this point if they know that the housing market is inflated and people are getting loans. Not you, I'm just saying a lot of people are getting loans like 08 style, like for houses that are worth not what the, you know, they're double the price that they were 3 years ago. That's insane, you know? And I think that the banks know that, like, that's sketchy and they're not as keen on giving out loans to everybody. My sister just went through this and they had a hard time getting a loan.
Yeah, no, I get
By the way, when I got up, I kicked my cord because I'm like old school and like wired to my iPad. And I made such a noise that my cat was like freaking out and was like attacking me on the way to the beer fridge. He's all like Swiffer bushy tailed and he was like not into it. He doesn't like noise. So it took me a minute to get my beer. I had to I got a cat. I got one cat that's the girl that's super sweet. And then the boy that's like 30 pounds. He's huge. And I got to look behind me when I go around. Like if he gets bushy tailed, I have to keep my head on a swivel because he will attack me all the time.
Sounds like a great animal to have in the house.
Yeah, exactly. Adam Nutter would have appreciated, I think, this comment.
He would have.
There we go.
He would have said that he could kill a cat with his bare hands, which is total BS.
The cheetah, specifically cheetah. Yeah.
I think he said house cat.
House cat. Yeah. But he went on a thing about the cheetah because it was like, I don't know, 50 pounds or something.
I remember him saying house cat. I think he thinks he could kill it, and I just don't buy it. I don't buy it at all.
There we go. Hey, we got to challenge him to that at the convention.
I would. I'm not sure that convention would last much longer if we did that.
Yeah. Who do we know that has a cheetah? We got to bring one.
The Tiger King. He's getting bailed out soon, right?
Tiger King. There you go. Yeah.
So Zach sent me this, Steven. You were talking about promoting this. So let's go ahead and do that now. Boom.
Your documentary.
My documentary.
Fayetteville, Georgia, April 15th, 5 o'clock.
How about
we
that?
will be showing this at Town Square Playhouse. Super excited. And
heck yeah.
Yeah. So we're using Eventbrite as a platform, is suggested, heavily suggested, we make some donations to kind of, help you out, help the venue out, help the state party out.
Heck yeah.
But
it's going to be awesome. I'm stoked. I haven't screened it for folks in person since the premiere. So this will be fun. April 15th. What time is that going to be at? 5 to 8?
5 o'clock. 5 p.m.
Sweet.
1,700 for the military folks.
Yeah, if you did it a
like
couple
Matt
months
Carter,
later, I
since
could
he's
go.
a Fed too.
Oh, I'm sure
He's a
we can.
Fed.
Yeah, that's funny. I think there's a gun show that weekend that I'm definitely not going to. Yeah. Oh, that one. That's the one that I was talking about. Yeah,
you just went to it
for sure. That's cool, dude. I'm super stoked. Which county? It's Fayette
County. Yes, sir. Fayetteville,
nice.
Georgia.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah.
The city and the county are both named after Marquis de Lafayette.
Okay.
So again, if you think the French are just total commies and irredeemable, I just want to remind you that they ceded a lot of our colonies. They brought the ideology here. We made it better, obviously, because they didn't know what the hell the foot was. So we corrected that, but
the foot. Oh, the unit of measure. Oh, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Circling back to,
but the idea of freedom, we obviously polished that too. But they brought it here.
That's awesome.
We tried anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So don't hate on the French so much.
Not so much. Most of them.
It's hard not to sometimes.
Well, again, the Maginot Line, kind of hard to forget that.
Yeah, fair enough.
We really needed you.
I think the last time I was in Fayetteville was actually when Shane was doing his Bitcoin. He did a speech at a Bitcoin gathering.
Were you there for that?
I was there for his speech and then I left.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I didn't get to meet you there.
No, I kind of at this point I kind of figured you were there. Just put two and two together. Did you go to it was like, I don't know, last October or something, or no, I don't know, maybe last year sometime. Robbie the Fire went and did his stand-up.
I didn't make it to that one.
Okay.
Is that the narrator?
Yeah, that's the narrator for the
movie.
Yeah, him and I forget who his opener was, but they came down, did some comedy. It was fantastic. It was fun. What is Reign of Terror?
Is that a movie?
I know Reign of Fire.
Reign of Fire. That's what I'm thinking. The dragon movie with what's it? Batman. Christian Bale, I think.
Christian Bale, Gerard Butler, and Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, it actually had before these people blew up. It actually had a crazy cast.
Dude,
what would that cast cost to do today?
It's one of my favorite movies. It's so good.
I haven't seen it since I was I don't know, 13.
Okay,
I don't know what year it came out, but
it's not a movie. Results of the French Revolution.
Yeah, so we're talking about a dragon movie, but this person brought up a legitimate point. So it's a different thing.
Oh no, hey, this is when Elizabeth comments. This is legit stuff you have to think about before you speak.
Oh, okay, well then,
Now
she
Elizabeth
needs to watch the real podcast. This is Liberty Libations, where we're drunk talking about dragon movies. But
she's my boss.
This is an established homeschool mama you're talking to here.
Oh man.
So
mouth foot insert.
Always assume Elizabeth talking about something deep.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
And she's referring to two other things that are deeper than what she's actually saying.
Yeah, the double entendre or triple.
That's right. Yeah.
But she probably was actually referencing the Reign of Fire. That probably makes more sense than this.
Yeah.
That was a great movie.
I like to vacillate between the deep and the shallow here. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Reign of Terror, that's what she said, results of the French Revolution. So we have, Louis the 16th was, he was the first one to be beheaded. And he coined the phrase "après moi le déluge," right? So you idiots, I'm the one holding this back. And Muammar Gaddafi kind of said this whole thing. And by the way, I watched him get murdered on live camera while I was supposed to be working. Also,
terrible.
That's interesting. Good popcorn.
And he didn't say that in such a succinct way, but he basically said the same thing of après moi le déluge. After me comes the flood. You morons, do you understand what I'm holding back?
Mm-hmm.
And Louis the 16th knew that. Muammar Gaddafi knew that. So we deposed him and blessed his lands with democracy and freedom. But what we really did was gave birth to ISIS.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm aware of this in terms of like a CIA basically birthing project. Like,
Well, and he may or may not have been an actual CIA operative, but without debating that, it's the same concept. That's what she's saying, the reign of terror, because after we cut off Louis XVI's head in the French Revolution, which was like the birth of like the freedom movement, which gave birth to the freedom, that birthed our nation. The reign of terror happened.
Well, as far as ISIS goes specifically, I mean, there's several factors with that are like, it's like our fault kind of a thing. Like there's multiple ways you could look at it or whatever, but
we arm, fund, and train them. So
yeah, well, it's pretty hands-on. Yeah. And then like naming people that were at fault for things like 9/11 and that ISIS came up in the wake of that, when we tried to blame certain terrorist groups, and it kind of made them famous, and then they got groundswell after that and became ISIS after that or whatever. But
they actually talk about that in Jack Ryan. It's kind of crazy.
Really?
Yeah. It's kind of nuts.
Yeah.
And then when you see Al Qaeda or ISIS, on any major Reuters or Al Jazeera post, what are they driving in these long caravans? Toyota Tundras.
It's always Toyotas.
Yeah. Manufactured in Texas.
The Toyotas that they have are manufactured in the U.S.?
Specifically, yes. They were made for the U.S. military out of the Texas plant.
Yeah. I've always noticed that it's like Toyota, like what do they have? The Hilux too, like, which is like the smaller one that's international too.
Yes.
Helix,
yeah.
I thought it was Hilux, but it's something
with,
like that.
With the mount. For the artillery. With the artillery mount specifically.
Yeah.
With the swivel, that's all proprietary stuff out of the Texas plant, bro. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
American made.
I mean, didn't ISIS just tweet that they, with a video, that they have the largest collection of Humvees outside of the U.S.?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, China probably made that happen because, by the way, they just bought them, during the Obama years.
They get all of the old discarded toys,
Yeah.
Yeah, Tundras and Tacomas, according to Mac Carter.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Well, they're one of the only things that can survive the desert, honestly.
Yeah.
It's I don't know if it's a good thing for Toyota, but I mean, in a way, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to be associated with terrorists, but then you're like, but they're the only things that can last.
I don't know, man. Their next Super Bowl commercial might feature the Taliban.
I'm with you on that because it's like, hey, we've been making this stuff out of Japan for a couple of 100 years.
Yeah,
and where they're at, like this stuff was rough in the Bible, 2,000 years ago, and we're getting across it. Merkin folks, and I don't care whose side we're on, we're getting there.
It is crazy how much supplies that we have supplied to terrorist organizations over the years.
It's a vicious circle, because the people that are making these trucks that are traversing this terrain were also there occupying their country, actively putting fluoride in their kids' gullets.
We give guns and vehicles out, and we bring drugs in. The import-export that no one talks about.
So on one hand, yes, they're marrying their kids' pillows, but on the other hand, 200 years ago, they were raping China, and it was an international problem. The rape of Nanking is what I'm referring to, by the way. Japan was the aggressor at one time against China. So let's not act like China has always been this looming villain.
Right.
There's
the Skeletor that they're made to be right now.
No, there's a
Japan was that, and we nuked them. Now they're getting married to pillows.
There's a complicated, ballet here between, whether it's like the China Sea area between Japan, China, and or if it's Israel and Palestine and things like that or whatever. Like,
Israel helped us build the entire surveillance state.
Yeah,
Operation Stellar Wind.
Yeah,
Jeez.
Stellar Wind.
There's another thing that we could tie into the 9/11 stuff as well, but
Operation Stellar Wind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
How do you
That's
people
fun.
remember these things?
They built this stuff. 5G, so look, if you're liberal enough and you're vegan and all that stuff, kudos to you. God bless you. Okay. And if you think 5G is a problem, cool. That's worth looking into, right? And so who else agrees with you is the people that have helped us invent this technology, which is Israel, which also helped us invent the surveillance state that we currently have. These fusion centers that are allegedly unconstitutional, but we also have them.
This is like the equivalent of how like everyone in tech sends their kids to like non-tech schools,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What's his name? Oh God, Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
He did that 60 Minutes interview when they were like, "Oh, which version of the iPad do your kids have?" And he's like, "They don't have them.
Exactly.
I don't give them that crap. It rots their brain.
Yeah.
We send them to schools where they read books."
Yeah.
And
tangible.
So
books.
Israel helped us develop this tech post 9/11, which they may or may not have helped us instigate. And
I tend to lean toward there's a lot of disturbing evidence there.
And even if we had the Patriot Act, and then we had this overarching surveillance state, which they also helped us establish and monitor. Just look at the G7. What the hell is the G7? What do they do? What are they reviewing when they meet annually?
At the G7 summit thing or whatever.
Right. Who is the G7? What are they doing? What do they do? Why? Why do they say they do it? And it's all
who appointed them.
Exactly. So, and now we have this 5G technology, which I know, 2G technology was a problem to the hippies. Okay. And then 3G was a problem. And then 4G was a problem, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all these things have problems associated with them. But, through all the minutia, that there are legitimate problems. I know that guys that I've worked with for 10 to 15, 20 years that, most of what we did was telecom surveys, and they did rooftop telecom surveys, and they get in front of these freaking things. All they have is girls. And I know my brother with the Marine Corps, they told him, it was ground to air radio, surface to air communications was his initial specialty. And then that just basically morphed into everything that had a speaker that put out sound. Mm-hmm. And he was working on that. And they promised all these guys in the shop that if you have kids after this, you're only going to have girls.
This is so I'm interested.
And then lo and behold, my brother has 2 girls. I love my nieces. But this was a government promise. Right. Where are my nephews?
They might have been. I'm into this. This is interesting. And I'm always like really careful around this because it's one of those topics that because it does have that attachment to like kind of the hippie thing or like the other side, like the Alex Jonesy, like you got to be careful about. It's like, 5G turning the friggin' frogs gay or something, like that kind of a thing. I'm not saying that that's exactly what he's saying.
Well, it's atrazine turning the frogs gay.
Yeah. He's saying another thing, but like it's that type of stuff where like you got to be careful about.
Well, I will say like
how it's perceived, but.
So I saw a massive leap in data speeds from 3G to 4G, 4G to 5G. It's gotten
not so
worse.
Much. Yeah.
I get worse signal than
it's
I did
probably
before.
because
so it's either a flawed
not
technology
about
or it's not actually.
That's not his primary.
And my wife is glad my girlfriends don't get pregnant anymore. But that was a joke. But
I don't either get pregnant.
But it's just really weird that, when it was time to roll out the 5G technology, it was right at the end of 2019, right at the beginning of 2020. Mm-hmm. And we roll it out. And then Israel says, you know what, bro? I'm going to do some more research. I'm not sure this is safe. And then you start seeing the left coast, the Portlands and the Sacramentos and those types are like, we need more studies. But then you see like the Sandy Springs, Georgia is like, we need some more safety studies. And then you see these published studies on NIH, on PubMed, talking about, it compromises your voltage gated calcium channels, which is, what triggers the mitochondria to let calcium into your body to process all these, natural hormonal processes that are necessary for human life. So basically, you have if you're the apartment window next to or directly level with this 5G, it looks like a giant coffee can on top of a light pole.
Yeah.
If you're the apartment window next to that, that's a problem for you, bro.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to live there, honestly.
It is straight up unraveling your DNA.
Yeah, if you look at like the cellular degeneration, given certain just like sound frequencies, it's if you find the right frequency, you can promote the growth of cells or deteriorate it, or promote the growth of cancer cells and deteriorate it, or whatever. Like there's different, sonic studies with this. And the problem I have with 5G is just that someone has the capacity to, use whatever frequency they want to,
the segue, the segue that's going to make it all okay is that 4G has been widely accepted and distributed nationally or internationally, for that matter.
Yeah.
And we've been okay with that, and that's the problem, because not many people live in the apartment complex window that's 250 feet high, eye level, with the actual tower in the broadcast range that puts them in direct contact with that frequency.
It's like the NIMBY problem, the not in my backyard.
So exactly. So the 5G thing is, the true millimeter wave, frequency. If you're within direct range of that, which 5G, that's one of the weaknesses of that. Once you're outside of, say, 100 yards, you have exponential decrease for every foot you're away from this thing.
Mm.
Okay. But, if you're in the inner city, if you're in a college dorm, for instance.
Maybe that's why I don't think
and this is on your light pole right outside your window, 100 feet away. If you have kids, you're having girls. I'm going to go ahead and say that. And by the way, if you're one of those folks that you lived in a college dorm and you got a problem having kids, and then finally you have a kid and it's a girl, this is something worth looking into. That's all I'm saying. Just ask some questions.
Favors some X chromosome stuff.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I haven't heard about that yet, but I'm not refuting it or anything.
Because I know the military for a fact has been promising folks that if they have certain communication protocol jobs and they're within radio frequency towers of certain frequencies within a certain range, if you have kids, you're only having girls.
And
it's come true.
We could sum this segment up with a quote from Nikola Tesla. The whole, I'll paraphrase, but the secrets to the universe lie in basically understanding frequency and vibration, and this applies here
to that, man.
Too, but
there, Randall Carlson, friends with Graham Hancock. They talk about this. How I forget who started putting patents down. It's like Hyundai or Kia, somebody in one of the Asian companies, but they have this new tech that they think is actually ancient tech, and their theory is that this is how they moved the blocks on the pyramid, and how they made all these different things. And
it's been speculated for a while.
But now it seems like somebody has made some real progress on it. And
so we
have a long time.
You want to hear something weird while we're on this tangent? You want to know something crazy? So when Nikola Tesla died, do you know who raided his apartment or his house? And
wasn't it Trump's dad or grandpa or something?
Who was that?
Trump's grandpa or dad or
Trump's
something?
uncle.
Okay, I knew someone in the paternal family of Trump.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Ended up with the documents for a lot of his technology.
Scalar and planar wave technology. If you want to Google something and go in a rabbit hole, that's the stuff to look for. The Tunguska event. What caused that?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep. I'm deep into it, man. We could have a whole thing just for this kind of stuff. This is the kind of stuff like doing this with you guys has actually brought me a little bit more into the sphere of like current events, because usually I'm like a deep dive guy and I'll take a thing and I'll hit it hard, and like I need time for stuff to come out. I need like whistleblowers. I need people, writing books on it and like deep dive in. Oh, by the way, I ordered Dave's book that after we talked to him. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
I know. I've been telling all my coworkers about it. That was such a good, I loved him, dude.
That was fun, man. I can geek out over that, but
Yeah.
Anyway, like I can do like deep dive stuff or whatever. So, but I'm usually like, when people talk about, did you hear about that thing that happened like 3 days ago? Normally for me, I'm like, I only heard the name, but I don't know anything about it yet because like I take time to absorb it, you know. So
Yeah.
this show has been keeping me on my toes, like, you know, making me be a little bit more aware of what's going on in the world, like today, you know.
Yeah.
Not
I
like
that.
going back to like, hey, do you know what happened with like, you know, 1963, like when the president was killed? And everyone's like, yeah, we kind of know, you know, we think we know, you know, whatever. But anyway, been fun.
Yeah, no, I agree. I get really bogged down with all this stuff, and so I generally, it's like cramming for an exam. So like the hour before this podcast starts, I will watch 100 hours of Twitter videos to try to get us on topic.
That's bad for your brain, man. That's not good.
It's better than watching the videos all week long throughout.
That's true.
You know, throughout
Yeah.
my day, because then every day is ruined.
I agree. Just
now
ruin
I
one
only
day.
have to ruin tonight, you know.
Just ruin Thursday.
Yeah, you know, I've got the books I read normally. I've got the books I have read. I've got the books I read, you know, to my son, and then you know, I've got my daily, you know, 20 to 30 minutes of news scrolling on my phone and my PC.
Yeah.
And you know, that's what I bring to the table.
Yeah, I mean, your brain holds in a lot of information.
Yeah,
for sure.
It hurts, by the way.
Yeah,
I bet that's why you drink, right?
Oh, right.
Steven's brain is more like the equivalent of like remembering names, where like my brain's the equivalent of remembering faces, like the general gist of something, and yours is like, no, the specific information. We've talked about this before.
And I've got an eidetic thing too, where you know, I can put myself in a situation where like I can hear a song and I can put myself through every time in my life I've heard that song.
Yes, the nostalgia of it that brings you back to the emotional state of when you heard it at other places in your life. Yeah. Big time into that, actually. Yeah. Smells can do that actually quite a bit for me.
Yes.
Smells are most powerful. Actually.
Smell is actually the olfactory part of the brain is nearest the long-term memory, and so like it activates it, you know, by proxy or whatever more anyway.
That's why, you know, with the guys that I brew with, that's why I'm the hops guy. You know, it's not only that I have one leg, but you know, I can smell all the different hops.
You have one leg?
No, I have two legs, but you know, it was a joke.
The hops.
But,
well, I've not seen your legs. I've only seen your bust. I don't know. I was like, Steven, it was interesting. I don't know. Steven trivia that's not true. Like,
yeah.
Oh my god.
But now I understand that it is a joke, and now I feel ridiculous. I'm sorry.
Absolutely should feel ridiculous. Goodness gracious.
Yeah. I can be like, when it comes to just a person telling me a thing, like gullible in the sense of that, like, I take people just sort of like at their word first. It's like my benefit of the doubt thing is that they like, you know, like I don't want to assume you're not saying that you don't have one leg, if that makes any sense. I don't know.
No, it does. But Steve also has autistic level super memory, and I'm forever jealous.
There's a name for that.
That is exactly why, and I don't want to really trigger a lot of feds following us, but that is exactly why I was a member of the Kekistan 420 Brigade back in 2016.
420 Brigade. That sounds fun.
For your memory?
Yeah.
No, it was I was a meme war veteran, and by the way, I have had many beers bought for me by wearing a hat with the meme war veteran patch on it.
That is hilarious.
Yes, and most of them, by the way, I explained I'm a meme war veteran, and then I explained to them how I engaged in meme warfare, and most of them understand this and then buy me a second beer.
That's funny.
But I've quit doing that out of respect for some of my other actual veteran, like physical veteran friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, couldn't help myself on a few of them.
That is pretty funny.
Yeah.
Thanks for a good story, though.
I've got nothing else. I've only eaten one meal today. I need to go eat some food.
There we go.
We've had liquid calories.
So hey, April 15th, Saturday, 5 p.m., Fayetteville, Town Square Playhouse. Jake's documentary. If you want to see this, if you're within reach, within driving range, we would love to see you guys.
And if you want to run it again in July or August, I'll be out there. So,
hey man, give me a heads up. Yes, we'll make it happen.
Yeah, I want to do it, man. I'm excited to live closer, so I can.
Looking forward to
run
playing
down
Spin the Bottle with you guys later on this year too.
there.
So
Spin the
Let's
bottle.
let's watch the trailer before we get out of here. I'm gonna do
For
some
Divide
more.
and Dominate.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, right on.
Heck yeah, let's do it.
If you can't question authority in America, you do not have freedom.
that's my governor right there, y'all. Not either of those assholes. That guy.
We're not failing in this country because the government isn't doing enough. We're failing in this country because the government's doing too much.
What's happening?
However many million people are in Georgia, but you should only be able to choose from 2 people for governor, 2 people for Senate. It's complete and utter nonsense.
The whole banking system's a sham.
The Federal Reserve controls our monetary supply. They have destroyed our currency.
Abrams doesn't understand anything about this. Kemp sold out long, long ago. There is one person in this race that understands freedom.
First, they ignore you. Then they laugh at you. Then they fight you. And then you win.
We've got a blaze that is spreading across this nation right now, and all we got to do is push it in the right direction.
Man, that's good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
I'm cutting a new trailer for it. One that is far less focused on the race because it wasn't really about the race. That trailer was to get people in Georgia to go watch it.
That's actually an interesting thought. Yeah.
Because it was, I kind of wanted to show all of the stuff, like all of the corruption and how everything worked through the lens of that race. And so
that makes sense. Yeah.
Now I'm cutting together a new trailer that is far more
general.
Yeah. Way more appealing to
and I'm going to go a little outside of it too. And do you remember the time when they were talking about, when Hillary was talking about Russian interference in the presidential election in 2016?
Yeah.
And, we sequestered one of her servers, one of her email servers, and it was being held at Kennesaw State University, which is where they tally our votes. And then it disappeared from evidence. And Secretary of State Brian Kemp did nothing about it and then got promoted to governor right after that.
This is the way.
Wow.
This is how we do things. It just vaporizes into thin air, whether it's...
I haven't forgotten about that.
Yeah.
That pisses me off.
Everybody else has forgotten.
State Senator Brad Raffensperger was instrumental in making that go away, and now he's Secretary of State.
Yep.
Oh, he got promoted for it. Yeah.
Yeah, both of them
He's
did.
the good boy
right?
in this. Yeah. He did his work there. Yeah. This is the thing. I mean, whether it's like gold, documents, money, digital money,
and then let's
whatever
not
it is.
forget, because while Brian Kemp is parading and chest beating, talking about hey, he's the best governor ever, let's not forget while he was Secretary of State, there was a CD-ROM that was leaked that had the information, critical information of all the registered voters in the state of Georgia. Just dispersed.
Jeez.
No problem, right? Because Equifax set that precedent a year or two prior.
Yeah.
Hey, we can keep all your information as admin. All good, right? Because we're going to certify your deposits later on. It's all right.
Goodness.
Yeah. The password is password. Yeah. No,
I'm serious. With Equifax, it was admin on their server down in Argentina.
How many people was it? Millions of people's accounts too that got affected by that. It was a lot of.
Oh yeah,
it was like
so with Equifax, it was 200 plus million.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
The floppy disk reference.
Should have used the floppy disk.
Yeah.
All right, y'all. I got to hit the sack. Actually, I got to eat and hit the sack. So.
Love you guys. Cheers.
Cheers,
Good
Steven.
talking to you again, man.
And make sure y'all tune in for Free Georgia Podcasts every Tuesday and come back next week for Liberty Libations. We are having Cynthia McKinney on. We missed it. We got the dates wrong. So it's not this week. It's either, I think it's 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks
looking
from now,
forward to that.
April 6th.
Yeah, April 6th. So
That'll be fun.
tune in for that one. It'll be great. Until then, y'all have a great week and keep spreading liberty.